Yeah, I think we can start now. We have 53 participants right now.
Yeah, I think thank God is frozen. I'm sure he's probably having network issues.
Our beloved alumni, doctors, Dr. Alex Bryan, Dr. Gabriel, Dr. Udom, and Dr. Anna. I don't know, can't find any of others here. Okay, please, if you're online, you can unmute yourself just for once and say hi. So I will hand over this to Dr. Alex Bryan, who will be moderating it for us. I think on behalf of FOMS, I would say we are really excited to see you people here, and our hopes are high. It's the first of its kind where we see people who have gone ahead and coming to mentor us, and we are not surprised because it's something we benefited from you right from the time I was in my first year in school. So, okay, please.
Sorry, thank God. I'll just 2 seconds. Please, everyone, I would like us to all mute our mics. Just look at the left side or left part of your screen. You would see the mute button. Let it have a red cross over it. Let's all mute our mics to help us hear others. Thank you. Thank God, please go on.
Okay. So at this point, I think I would love to hand over to you so that we can continue with the section. But before I do that, I think here with us are medical students, your junior colleagues, the ones they left a few years ago. And I'm sure I've seen on board some persons who are not home sites, who saw the link and have decided to join us. And some young doctors too, who are also eager and looking for a platform like this to be fully armed to the teeth. So that, and we'll sit back and get the best from you. Thank you very much, Dr. Alex Bryan, Dr. Gabriel, and all our guests here. You're welcome to PUMSA, and I think I'll hand over at this point so that we can begin. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank God. Really, I'll start by commending your executives who have put this beautiful webinar together. It's really brilliant. This is an opportunity of a lifetime, I would say, because we didn't have this as medical students. No one informed us. We searched for this information actively, but this is everyone getting it in a passive form, which is good. So that said already, just to also buttress that, this webinar is not saying, we're not trying to say once you graduate, leave the country. No, that's not what we're trying to say. What we're trying to say is very simple. Follow your passion. If your passion is to remain back in Nigeria, trust me, training back home in Nigeria is really good. Nigerian doctors who trained back home are really, really good. And if your passion is stay back, then once you're done, follow that pathway. There's primaries, and then you get into residency and then become a consultant. If you think that your passion is to go to Seychelles, which is east part of Africa, do it by all means. If it's the US, if it's Canada, if it's Australia, what I'm trying to say in essence is, don't go following the, because this person is there, because this person left, let me leave as well. No, let's all follow our passion, basically. So that said already, I would want to share my screen first, and then I would give opportunity, I would introduce the panelists. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Awesome. So I would start with introduction of the panelists. Let's start with myself. I'm Chinedu Brian Egu, currently a surgical trainee here in the UK. Gabriel, please, can you introduce yourself, please?
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Gabriel. I'm one of the registrars here in the UK, and most importantly, I was once a PUMSA Senate President, and I was once the POMSA Secretary. I was quite a number of times the governor of my class, and a committed POMSA before. You're muted. We couldn't hear what you said.
Idibia, please, can you introduce yourself? Hello, Idibia?
Idibia, we can't get you. Idibia, it looks like you're not muted, but for some reason we can't get your voice.
Okay, we'll move over to Anna. Anna, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Anna Pala. I'm currently working as a trust with Doctor in Trauma and Orthopedics here in the UK. Back in medical school, I was the first ever Miss POMSA, and then I went on to become Miss Uniport and did all of the pageants.
Awesome, awesome. So I don't know if Idibia, have you been able to sort it out? Well, you can actually just log off and log in back. I'm sure that should sort it out. Michael, is Michael on?
Yeah, hello, I'm here.
Okay, hi, Michael.
Hello, hello, Brian.
Yeah, can you just introduce?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Michael Kelechi Opera is my name. UK. Someone have a background noise there? Okay, I'm currently in the UK, in the surgical department. Yeah. Once the poem is a poem site, so if a campsite or if a campsite as well. So yeah, it's also our passion to help guide our younger colleagues, to help them see what we couldn't see while we are in our journey. Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet everyone.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much, Michael. Chizukwa, please, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hello. My name is Chizukwa Amala. I'm a doctor working in the Peterborough City Hospital, trust grade in the emergency department. And of course, I was once a boom site as well. I'm really glad to see the number of persons who have indicated interest to work in the UK. I can thank for participants. And I must say it's the right path. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Chizu. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Chuma, please, are you on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you good.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chuma. I'm one of the A&E trainees in the Northwest. And I finished from Uniport as well.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much, Chuma. I don't know, Idibia, have you been able to sort it out? Oh, we'll give him some time to sort it out. I'll see if we could, if I could liaise with him while the talks go on. So I'm going to hand over the. So this is the outline we're going to be going through. We'll talk about the overview of this UK pathway, preparing for your IELTS, preparing for your PLAB exams, steps to EPIC registration and GMC licensing. We'll also talk about the financial requirements, for this UK pathway. Getting your first job in the UK, pathways to residency training in the UK as well. And then very importantly, how to strengthen your application for UK residency. We'll get the questions and answers at the end. So at this point, these are abbreviations. I would hand over this slide to Tangod. He should be able to share this with whoever needs it. These are the abbreviations we're going to be using in these slides. I'm going to hand over the floor to Gabriel Bekun to give us an overview about the pathway to becoming a UK doctor. Over to you, Gabriel.
All right. Good evening, everybody. And I'll say thank you again to the POMSA executives for giving us the opportunity to discuss with our junior colleagues. I'll quickly start with my own story about how I, got into this path of becoming a doctor in the UK here. It started with, doing just 9 to job in one of the hospitals there at Rupoku, coming home to sleep. And then I was doing that all the time. And a friend saw me one of those days and said, now why do you sleep all during the day? You just stay at home doing nothing. I said, yeah, because I work at night. And he was like, I'm not a lazy person. I do work at night. And, he then said, okay, well, he had this exam is about preparing for IELTS. And after that, he would write the PLAB 1 exam and write the PLAB 2 and go to the UK. Just 3 exams and you're in UK. I was like, really? Now, mind you, this about a year after I finished youth service. So all this while, I've always thought that, going abroad, being a doctor abroad is a very daunting task. I've heard about doctors going abroad to, first of all, drive Uber or do a lot of stuff before, before being able to even become doctors, if they will become doctors. And so when I heard about this, that actually, made me more interested. And so it means that for me, I was not in for something too tough to become a doctor abroad. If it would mean I'll have to be an Uber driver first, then possibly I would have to leave that and, remain in Nigeria. So I think that prompted me actually to, find out more. And that's what we're going to be telling you today. Basically, the pathway to becoming a doctor in Nigeria is in the UK starts with one point that is not here, which is being very serious with your academics now, while being undergraduates. So whatever they teach you, very well, and not just knowing just to pass the exams, but knowing because not knowing just exam stuff, what we call exam stuff, because now you want to be an international doctor, you actually want to know everything. That should not distract you from passing the exams actually, but you should also just know everything you're being taught, because when it's time to write the PLAB, you will need all those information. So basically, you said the pathway starts with 1. I'll just give an overview and every other person will go deep. First of all, registering on the GMC website, you can just click on the site there, which has been written there, and then you just like opening an email really, and you register with the GMC, and then you put in all your information about when you graduated and all. So that means that the very day you swear your oath in Ibitimi, Banigo Hall, or whatever hall they use now in school, after you get your license that day, you can actually start your registration with the GMC. And the moment you finish your house job and get your full license, then you can complete your registration with the GM. That's just your registration to start the process of being a doctor in the UK. After that, they expect you to do the IELTS exams, and there's a minimum score you're expected to get, which is an overall of 7.5 and a minimum of 7 in all the bounds. I know someone will talk about that. And then this IELTS exam, or OET just means it's an occupational exam. So it's more of English that is used in medicine, basically. So it's either you write that or you write IELTS, and they're just all about the same thing. And when you meet the required score, then you can register for the PLAB 1 exam. Now, the good thing about these exams I've mentioned is that you can do the OET or the IELTS in Nigeria. And then the PLAB 1 itself also, you can do it in Nigeria also. And then when you pass the PLAB 1 exam, which is Kojo, please can you mute yourself? Oh, yeah. Okay. Did I call the wrong name? If I did, please pardon me. After writing the IELTS, then the next is the PLAB 1, and you can do it in Nigeria also. It's more of an MCQ exam without the negative marking. So that shouldn't even make you scared. It's an MCQ without the negative, so you should be able to do well, having known your stuff from school. And of course, there are materials with which you prepare for these exams. And I think some of my colleagues will tell you how you can access these materials down today's webinar. And then after the PLAB 1, then the PLAB 2 is usually done in the UK. The good thing is that having done the PLAB 1, you have enough evidence to, seek for the visa to come into the UK to do the PLAB 2. And I think one of our colleagues also will tell you more about how to prepare for the PLAB 2 and how to get the visas also. And then after writing the PLAB 2, you pass the PLAB 2, the next thing is to register with the GMC. And so that means that you have to do your EPIC verification, which EPIC is like an organization that verifies medical graduates all around the world. So it's not just left to only Uniport or Nigerian students all over the world. So you register with EPIC, and then I know someone else will elaborate more on that, on how to register with EPIC, and then they would verify that you're actually a medical graduate, because they will contact Uniport, and then the moment that is done, you can then obtain your GMC license from the from GMC. That is being just the way you get your license to become a doctor in Nigeria, you now become a doctor in the UK. And then of course, you then apply for jobs. You can always, the interviews for the job, most times you do them remotely. So just on Zoom, just as you are on Zoom now, most of the time you do your interviews. And the moment you're successful, the rest is more of administration. So I think, thank you. Over to you, Brian. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. So thanks a lot, Gabriel, for that beautiful overview. At least everyone has a mind's eye about what to expect going forward. So I'm going to hand over to Chizukwa to tell us more about how to prepare for IELTS or OET. Over to you, Chizukwa. Just something. I can see someone's hand. Success hand is raised up. What I would advise is to write your questions down. If you have any questions or comments, just write it down, so that at the end of the day, this is a question and answer section. So we're going to have a good time to actually answer your questions as much as we can. Is that okay? So just write it down, and then we'll take it at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to, okay, so we're going to be talking about IELTS. The IELTS exam is International English Language Testing System. So that's like the full meaning of the IELTS. And yeah, so the OET is the Occupational English Test. So that's the other English test. So when you're going to be registered when you're going to get the license, a doctor qualified to work in the UK, or when you're registering for your PLAB 1 exam, you will need a proof of competence in English language. And that is passing the IELTS exam or the OET exam. So the IELTS exam, we're going to talk about that first, how you're going to prepare for the IELTS exam. So I've on the slide, you can see prerequisites, like what you require. And the first is your international passport. So it's your proof of identity, and it's what is required for entry for the exam. So you need to get your international passport. I'm presuming since it's PUMSA, most of you will be in Port Harcourt, so you can easily go to the immigrations office in Port Harcourt and try to get your license, talk to an immigrations officer. You know, when I did my passport, it was about 20,000 naira then. And I think I lost my initial passport, got a second one. So because I didn't have my passport number, I had to pay like 50,000 naira. So you just need to find out what it is and get it. Because it's Nigeria, the passports, which ideally come in a short while, like a few days or within a day, you know, can take several months to come. So,
Yeah, can we all mute us? Our mics, please. Thank you very much. Thank you.
yeah, so yeah, you get your international from there. It take months, like I said, to get. So it's you have to be like you have to begin on time.
Can you unmute Chizu? Unmute yourself. Sorry, I think we muted everybody. So unmute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, so should I start with types of IELTS? Is that okay? Yeah, so types of IELTS, we have the general and we have the academic. Now, for us that are professionals and for doctors taking the PLAB exam, you need to do the academic IELTS. And I know it can be confusing sometimes when you want to register for IELTS and you hear of UKVI. UKVI is like the IELTS that's used for UK visas when you want to apply for a visa to eventually work in the UK, you know, the UKVI version. But I think some time back it was like scrapped using the UKVI version. So you just need to do the IELTS academic. IELTS academic. You need it for your PLAB 1. You also need it for your GMC registration. You also need it when you are eventually migrating to the UK. Yeah, so that is the type of IELTS you're going to write. And then the costs of IELTS and the booking. So if you want to book for IELTS, I think you can search on Google, booking IELTS in Nigeria. You can get websites to book the IELTS, like the BC, British Council website. You can also get the IDP website, that's the IELTS. That's the IELTS organized by Australia. I think it's also valid. So you go on Google, you search for booking. You can use the BC site, British Council site, and book your exam. So it costs about 83,000 for academic. If you want to do the UKVI one, it's usually more expensive, 89,500, but generally you're doing the academic version of IELTS. So that is booking. If you don't want to book online, you have their office in Port Harcourt as well. I think when I booked mine, I didn't do online. I just went to their office at, was it Birabi Street? You know, Birabi Street, close to Presidential Hotel, and they just did everything and could take my exam. So IELTS is taking every week. So when you want to do it, as long as you're ready, you can write the exam. So we'll now go to preparedness. So there are materials you need for this exam, like every other exam. And the first I'd like to mention is the Cambridge IELTS books. So IELTS is organized by the British Council, Cambridge English organization, and Australia, IDP Australia. So The Cambridge provides books. These books are like materials. They are like the main materials you need for preparing for IELTS. They have all the practice questions you need for your reading, your writing, and your listening. They have audio as well. So the Cambridge IELTS books, you don't need to buy them. So there is a Telegram group that, like I would say to someone, almost every Nigerian belongs to that group. There's a Telegram group like that. So it's an IELTS group, and you can easily get materials from that group, the Cambridge books, download them, download the audio, and use them to practice. So the latest version is Cambridge Book 16. And I normally advise that you start with the latest version, that's the latest release, which is the Cambridge Book 16. And then you work your way down, Book 15, Book 14, you know. And then there are other free online tutorials. So when I did my own IELTS, what I did was I did not have the money to book for any any paid tutorial. So what I just did was search on Google best free IELTS online courses. And I saw this one there. If you look at the slides, there is one organized by edX. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, so the one organized by edX, yeah. So that was the one I found, and that was the one I stuck to, and I used it for my preparation, but that wasn't the only thing I did. That was just part of it. So now this course, for instance, it can be paid for if you want a certificate for it, but I don't think you need a certificate. You just need to do the free one, just that it's the time you're allowed to do the course is limited. For instance, if you book today, if you register today to do the course free, you can have till like 19th of June to access the course, and thereafter your access will be terminated. And then I also mentioned a ridiculously made easy books. So for the writing part of the exam, which seems to be like a bottleneck for many persons in IELTS, you need this book. I use this book. So it has two parts, part 1 and part 2, because the writing has two parts, part 1 and part 2. Yeah, so this book, you need to go through it from A to Z, and not just going through it, but you need to follow the principles in the book. Yeah, so apart from this, you can also get friends who have just passed IELTS to help like critiquing your essays and things like that. Yeah. And so we'll go on to the test format for IELTS. So IELTS has 4 papers. It's an English test, 4 papers. Now I'm spending more time on IELTS because that's the one most people do, and that's the one that is relevant both for your PLAB 1, for your GMC registration, and for eventually migrating to the UK when you apply for a work visa. Okay, so it's the one you can use all the way. So you have the 4 papers, the listening, which lasts for 40 minutes. So they just play an audio for you. You listen to the audio, you have about 40 questions. And as you're listening, the audio lasts for about 30 minutes. As you're listening, you're answering the questions. So if you miss anything that was said and the question is there, I mean, you've missed it, it's not going to be repeated. So it's just, you know, a run through audio, and then all your answers you submit. And then the reading part, the edX material will be very helpful. It proved very helpful when I used it for the reading part. So the reading part, you have different kinds of questions. You have different, you have passages to read through. So you have questions like MCQ questions, but the questions are going to be different, not just MCQs. You have questions like true, false, not given. You have questions like matching paragraphs to headings. So they say, haven't read this passage. How would you title paragraph 1? How would you title paragraph 2? You know, things like that. So there's a vast variety of questions for reading, and you have to read the questions carefully to be able to answer correctly. And you have to be fast, of course, for the reading. But practice makes perfect. So you have to practice, practice, practice. And then for the writing part, you have task 1 and task 2. to be done within 60 minutes. Task 1 is for 20 minutes, task 2 is for 40 minutes. So, like I said, the ridiculously made easy book, I'll always emphasize the fact that it is very important, you know. So in writing, you have to know that they test 4 important things. And the first is your task achievement. That question you have been asked to answer, how well did you answer it? You know, and then cohesion and what's it called? Yeah, cohesion of your answers. How well is your text structured? And things like your lexical resource, you know, how good is your vocabulary? So if you know your vocabulary is not so good now, personally, what I did then was to, I downloaded the BBC News app, and I wasn't reading news for fun or to get information. I was reading to get new words, you know, words that are used more by the Brits. And, you know, I was writing them down, getting acquainted with them, practicing my writings with them. So you can do that to improve your vocabulary. If you have some other source of, you know, vocabulary, gaining new words, you can use that as well. Yeah, so task 1 is different from task 2. Task 1, well, should I go into all that now? Well, task 1 is normally something like you're given a graph to describe. So it's like you're a professional person and you're asked to do a presentation, maybe on a graph or a presentation about a graph, a picture, you know, things like that. So that's for task 1. Task 2 is normally like an essay. So your task achievement, your lexical resource, cohesion, you know, and there's something. And then let me just go to, so speaking is normally 11 to 14 minutes. Listening, reading, and writing can be done on the same day. Speaking can also be done on the same day as the other 3. But when I did my speaking, it was like 2 days after, so you can have some extra time for your speaking. For speaking, you have to practice, you know. For someone like me, I didn't know how to like speak very fast. So what I did was use my phone, record myself answering some questions on speaking, and then listen to myself. You know, I can recall how many times I was pissed with myself for the kind of answers I gave and for how long I took to answer those questions. So you are timed and you won't get more time. So you have to practice, okay? And then we'll go to the scoring. You're scored in bands, band 1 to 9. Dr. Pekun Gabriel already mentioned something about the scoring. The average score to pass the IELTS is 7.5. That is the pass back. But for each of these parts, the papers, you have to score at least 7.0. So the maximum score is band 9. And so if you score 777 in all the papers, you've not passed because your average won't be 7.5. So I said the bottleneck is writing. Most people score 7.5, blast, you know, 9 in some parts. And then when it comes to writing, they have like 6.5. And you see that they failed the exam. So you have to practice a lot, practice writing, give yourself time for the exam. Don't just rush through and, you know, yeah, don't just rush through, give yourself time to prepare. And yeah, so that's basically IELTS. Then OET, Occupational English Test. It's very similar to IELTS, just that the scoring is different. And the scoring is like A, B, C, and all that. So you need a grade of like B in all the parts to pass. And there's a link there to tell you more about OET. The thing is, OET is not so popular because with OET, you can't use that when you eventually want to migrate. So IELTS lasts for 2 years. So by the time you do your IELTS, you do your PLAB 1, you do your PLAB 2, get your GMC registration, and you eventually want to migrate, it's likely still going to be like valid, do you understand, within the 2-year period. But if you do OET and you want to migrate, it's not recognized by the UKVI, that's United Kingdom Visas and Immigrations body. So you need to still write a valid English exam like IELTS. So that's why most people go for IELTS, but OET is also good for PLAB 1, you know, and GMC registration. So OET, if you click on the link, you can see the more information about the test format, materials, and every other thing you need. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chizukwa. Thank you so much. I'm sure you know my PUM sites have a lot of information about IELTS and OET now. I'll move over to the next speaker. Anna would take us through how to prepare for PLAB 1. Over to you, Anna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. So for PLAB 1, PLAB means Professional and Linguistic Assessment Board Test. It's one of 2 exams that you need to sit and pass to be able to apply for a GMC registration and to be able to practice in the UK as a medical doctor. So if you go to Google, you can just search for PLAB 1 Guide and GMC. You can just type PLAB 1 Guide GMC, and then you have access to this page. It gives you all the information that you need to know about what PLAB 1 entails. There's something called the PLAB 1 Blueprint, where it tells you the subjects or topics that are going to be tested in the exam. It also gives you information about how many chances you get to sit for the exam. As far as I know, you have a maximum of 4 chances to sit for the exam. So if unfortunately a person has written the exam 3 times, you have one last chance to sit for the exams and pass. And if you fail that 4th chance, then it means that you need to prove to GMC that you're still learning, you know, that you're still progressing as a doctor to be able to be given a 5th chance to sit for the exam. Next slide, please. All right, so PLAB 1 is a written multiple choice exam. It's normally about 180 questions. Like Dr. Gabriel said, there's no negative marking, so there's nothing to be afraid of. If you don't know a question, you just, you know, make a calculated guess and you might be lucky. It's normally 3 hours. It looks like it's long, but the stem of the questions can be a whole page. So you can spend up to 2 minutes reading a question and trying to understand what you're being asked before you then go on to the options. So you need to do a lot of practice. And that's the only way to really beat the time. Sometimes a lot of people don't get to finish and they tend to panic at the end of the exam. Now the requirements are similar to those for IELTS. So you need to be a foreign medical graduate. Obviously, those who school in the UK do not need to take PLAB 1 exams. You need to create a GMC online account like Dr. Gabriel talked about earlier. It's just like creating an email account. And then you need evidence of passing your IELTS or OET exams. So when you pass your exams, obviously you'll be given when I wrote for the UKV, I was sent out certificates. But I think for the general, you just get your results online, I think, and it's a code that you impute in your online account, or your online GMC account that, you know, states that the IELTS is valid, something like that. And then you need to have your international passport, very, very important. Very important. And then timeline for preparation. Obviously, this is, we would normally recommend 3 to 4 months, but obviously it depends on your personal circumstances. So if, for instance, you're waiting to start house job and you're just at home, you can prepare in 2 months. If you're waiting to start NYSC as well, you're just at home, not doing anything, doing 1 or 2 locums. Obviously, you can prepare in a shorter period of time, but generally speaking, we recommend 3 to 4 months. And if you do have a lot of time on your hands, you can have as much as 6 months. There's nothing like being too prepared. And then some of the subjects covered are the usual ONG, pediatrics, surgery, ENT, ophthalmology, medical ethics. That might be strange to you because in Nigeria, I don't think we do a lot of that. So that's where practicing and discussion groups will help you. There are a couple of things that you cannot do or say here in the UK, and you need to become conversant with them. And the only way is by having discussion groups. Now, for the exams, they're written in Abuja, Lagos, and Enugu, normally in March, June, and November. And then the results are released 6 weeks after the exams. Now, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been a backlog. A lot of people have passed IELTS and are waiting for PLAB 1 date. So when the GMC announces that they will open new dates on a certain day, the site either gets jammed, you may not even be able to log in. So right now it's a challenge to even get an exam date. And so that's also where the discussion groups help. On Telegram, you see people advertising that they're canceling their exams. So you can quickly book if you know someone is canceling their exams and you already have all the requirements. Now, the exam costs about £240. And with the current restrictions to international transactions, you may need to get somebody in the UK to help you pay for the exam. That can be challenging. I know that some people have created domiciliary accounts in Nigeria and have been able to use those accounts to be able to pay for the exam. So these are things that you can begin to look into and plan to it so that when that day comes, you wouldn't be one of those that will be crying because you couldn't get somebody to help you pay. Yes. So for the materials that you need to prepare, you need the Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine, Oxford Handbook of Clinical Specialties. Some of these books, you can find them free, like the PDF version can be downloaded free online and you can begin to read up on them. If you have money, obviously, you can buy it. It's good to have a copy as well. And then Plabable Online Question Bank. So Plabable is a website, just as you can just type it on Google right now and you'll see the page. It's there on Plabable, you have all the questions for a couple of years. It's grouped according to subjects, so you can have ENT, ophthalmology, pediatrics, you can practice according to big subjects, or you can practice like you're sitting for the exams. It has mock exams as well. You have to subscribe for it. I'm not sure, I can't remember how much it costs, but I'm not sure it costs. It's very expensive, and I think the subscription lasts for about 3 months. You can also share the subscription with your friends. You guys can combine and pay, and then you share the subscription, the account username and password, so that you can all have access to it and practice. But that's going to be difficult because you won't be able to track your own personal progress. So you need to have that at the back of your mind. Now, for Plabable, we always say that it's good to go over it as much as you can. If you can go over the questions 2 or 3 times, that helps, because the more you practice, the more you remember, the more you find tricks or clinchers, such that when you see a word on the stem of the question, you already have an idea of what's been asked of you, and your mind has gone, has narrowed down the answer. And then when you look at the options, you would have narrowed it to either A or B, and that makes your work easy. So if you can, go over Plabable as many times as you can. And then Samson's notes, and this can be gotten from the Plabon Telegram groups. Now, if you have Telegram on your phone as we speak, you can search for PLAB 1. If you search for PLAB 1 right now, you would see it's titled May PLAB 1. And then you can easily join the group. Joining the group gives you access to all the materials that have been in the group from the day it was created. You will also have access to all the discussions and conversations that have been on the group since it's been created. So if you can, I would advise, if you have Telegram as this week, just search for PLAB 1 and you should be able to join the group. There you can download all these materials, you can join the discussions. And on the Telegram groups, people tend to now say they want to create smaller WhatsApp groups for discussions. So you can now join a WhatsApp group where you guys will have discussions maybe every evening or every other evening. You go through, they may say they're going through some questions on Plabable or some other question banks like the recalls from the previous exams. And it's very important because on the groups, you find people who have written the exams multiple times who have failed. You find people like you who are just writing the exam for the first time and are naive and scared. So you tend to exchange ideas. You learn from each other. Those clinchers are very, very important. Clinchers are words that you see on a question. It tells you what's been asked of you. And having the discussion group helps you remember better. You cannot possibly remember everything, even if you read for the whole year. So I will emphasize on the discussion groups. They are very, very, very important, like very important. Please take them seriously. And then for the pass mark, there's no specific pass mark for each exam, for the exams in general, but it tends to range between 115 and 125. And the pass mark is created based on the pass rate for that day. So if you're writing your exams on March 10, 2023, the pass mark for that exam will be based on the scores of everybody who has written the exam all over the world on March 10, 2023. So it's so don't just think that, oh, it's 115. No, it could be 130, depending on how hot-headed the people you're writing the exams are. So it's very important to have that at the back of your mind. And next slide, please. And then the recent pass rate for PLAB 1. So obviously, you can see that a lot of people are writing the PLAB exams as the years have gone by, and the pass rate tend to dwindle, or it's not specific. The trend is not specific. But for 2021, 74.1% of those who read the exams passed. So that's encouraging. So it means that you have a good chance of passing the exam when you sit for the exam. It's good to prepare properly. Prepare as if this first chance is your only chance. Don't think about the 4 chances that you get. No, prepare like this is the only chance you're going to get, and you will nail it. The secret for me, I would say, starting early. Have a plan early, and then start working towards it. You're never too young to start thinking of that board. For myself and Alex Bryan, I think we started doing this whole process during housemanship. And you know how hectic housemanship can be, but it didn't deter us. So you can start now while in medical school. You can plot your graph of what you're going to do at certain times. Or if you're already out of medical school, you're already a doctor, you can start as soon as you can. Don't wait. Don't say you want to finish NYSC first or you want to finish. You can have your GMC registration while you're waiting for NYSC or after NYSC, and you can choose to wait. You say you can choose to wait another 1 year to leave the country, but it's good to start early because things are changing every day. And as it may be easy today, but tomorrow it may not be easy anymore. That's the advice I'm going to give. I think I will hand over to the next panelist for part 2. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. I'm very grateful. There's a lot of information you've passed across. I hope the participants have questions at the end, and if they want to ask, they are free to ask. I'll move over to the next panelist. That will be Idibia. So Idibia will introduce himself because he couldn't do it at the time, and he would give us a presentation on PLAB 2. Okay, Idibia, over to you, please.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, clearly, please, clearly.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Hi, everyone. My name is Idibia Dennis Udom. I'm currently a GP trainee in the UK. I finished from University of Port Harcourt in 2015, and it's really nice to have this wonderful opportunity to discuss with you guys and obviously talk about the road to PLAB 2. It's because most of us didn't have this opportunity. So I think I just want to commend PUMSA ESCOs for this initiative. I think it's really fantastic, and kudos to you guys. So it's just a quick one. We will just briefly discuss the PLAB 2 guide. So from what my colleague she spoke previously just talked about the PLAB 1 guide. If you go onto the GMC website, you will still find the PLAB 2 guide as well. It's just very simplistic explanation of how the exam will, what you need to know about the PLAB 2 exam. It's on the GMC website. Everything is, the thing with these people is that, with people in the UK, is that everything is online. All the information that you need for anything, to be honest, is on a website somewhere. You just have to look for it. So if you go onto the GMC website, you would see the PLAB 2 guide, and it just gives you an information as to what it entails and how you should go about PLAB 2 registration. So just move on to the next slide. Okay, so so PLAB 2, what does it entail? What's the PLAB 2 exam? So it's an objective structured clinical exam. It's basically a Husky exam. I don't know if that's what you are doing now. I knew when we were in med school, we did long case and short case, but I don't know if we're doing the Husky exams now, which is actually a very good exam. So it's basically a clinical exam. It doesn't really test your. It's kind of tricky because for some people they will tell you that it's not basically a test of your knowledge, quote unquote. It's actually a test of your clinical acumen and skills and all that. But personally, I feel like it's a bit of both, and I'll use my personal experience to explain further. But let's just go through this slide. So basically, with the PLAB 2 exams, it's made up of 16 stations, which we call scenarios, and each of them last about 8 minutes, and they just reflect real life scenarios that you expect a foundation year 2 doctor, if you're starting a job, to obviously know. So a foundation year 2 doctor is obviously a doctor that's done house job, which is the first year, which is they call the foundation year 1, and is going into more like your NYSC year. That's so foundation year 2 is like your NYSC year. So they expect you to have some basic knowledge, and that's how the PLAB 2 exam is really structured for how you expect your foundation year 2 year to be like. So the exam basically covers like I said, for what I've explained, just what you expect in the foundation year 2 doctor. It tests your ability to apply knowledge to everyday clinical scenarios. Not how well you remember or react to facts, and all the questions relate to best practices. So let me just throw in some personal experiences. So this exam doesn't really test I know this slide tells you that it doesn't really test your ability to apply. It tests your ability to apply knowledge to the care of patients and how well you can remember and react to facts. So for some people, it's more or less like it's more or less an exam that tests your ability, your ability to be a good history taker, perform physical examinations, and interact with patients. But what I've come to realize is that because the exam is structured in such a way where it has it's in the second slide, we'll talk about it, because it's divided into 3 parts. The first part is your history taking portion. The second part has to do with clinical management and performing physical examinations, and the third part has to do with interpersonal skills. I've come to realize from experience that if your knowledge is not spot on, your interpersonal skills might not be as great as you would expect. What do we mean by interpersonal skills? So with interpersonal skills, it just entails your ability to interact with the patient, to use open-ended, closed-ended questions in communicating with patients. So effective communications, putting patients first, understanding their concerns, which is I feel like it's very, very difficult for an average Nigerian doctor, because the way we practice medicine back home is very different from what they do in the Western world. In Nigeria, obviously, as a doctor, you are like the alpha and omega. You are God. It is doctor-centered as opposed to patient-centered. And I remember even now when I even call my loved ones at home and they've got health issues and they call and they tell me that I went to see the doctor did not tell me what he was treating me for. He just gave me the drug and told me to go. And when I asked questions, he got angry. You hear these things over and over again, and it's very, which is very appalling, to be honest. And so that I think that's how we were bred in such the way we were groomed. We were groomed to be the boss, and then the patient is more or less like at our more like a servant, and so when you come to the UK, there's a balance shift. You tend to realize that you're actually more or less a servant, and then the patient is the king. And it's quite fascinating. And I think initially it was a bit of an issue for me trying to understand why I have to explain everything and put the patient first and make sure that the patient agrees to what my management plan is. So if you're good at these things, it gives you an edge in the exam. So when we talk about the PLAB 2 exams in natural science, all the questions when I'm not using my laptop because my speaker is a bit bad, so I'm actually using my phone, and it's quite hard for me to see, so I'm really sorry that I'm actually having to squint. So we're talking about preparing for the PLAB 2 exams. I talked about the 3 domains. So in this exam, they score you in these 3 domains. And the first domain is data gathering, technical, and assessment skills. And usually that's like 4 marks in every question. They score you on this. So the data gathering, technical, and assessment skills is 4 marks. The clinical management skills is 4 marks. The interpersonal skills is 4 marks. So if you're fantastic in taking history and performing some minor technical assessment, for instance, putting an IV cannula or passing a urethral catheter, these are scenarios that can pop in the exams. That's part of data gathering. And usually that gives you 4 marks. The next part will be clinical management. So you've taken your history, you have an assessment, you have a diagnosis, and then how do you manage this patient? If you manage appropriately, that's also 4 marks. And then the next part will be the interpersonal skills, which I talked about. How do you communicate with this patient? How do you interact? Are you an active listener? And do you listen to the patients? And when you go through the exams and you prepare for the exams, you tend to find out about what we call ICE, which is what they say is ideas, concerns, and expectations, which is very, very weird for an average Nigerian doctor to ask a patient, do you have any ideas to why you're having a symptom? I mean, I remember when I was preparing for PLAB 2 and I was working in the hospital and I was trying, obviously I went for academia, I was learning all this stuff, and then I was like, let me practicalize it on this patient. And I asked the woman, she was complaining of some weird symptoms. And I asked her, okay, madam, I understand that you've been complaining about this for a long period, for a time now. Do you have any thoughts as to why you're having this symptom? And she looked at me like, what kind of stupid doctor? Why are you asking me if I have any idea why I'm having this symptom? I beg, do your job, make you get out from my face. I felt like that was the impression she gave me. And I was like, oh, more, let's not try this thing again. Let me just do my job and keep my exam, all my exam stuff for my exam and not use it for the Nigerian patient. But then for some people, obviously I decided to continue because I needed to practice. But for some of them, it was fascinating. They felt like I was the best doctor they've ever had. Why? Because I just asked them about ideas, what are their concerns, what worries you the most about your symptoms? Okay, what do you want me to do for you today? And they were like, oh, this doctor is so nice, I want to see him again and all that. But these are just normal things that they do on a daily basis in the UK. It's not like we are not good, it's just that in Nigeria, the way we were trained is a bit different, which is why you have to practice for these exams. It's not like you don't have the knowledge. It's just that you've not been doing this thing for a long period of time the way you were trained. So you have to readjust your mindset, and that's why the idea of practicing for this exam is very important. So requirement for PLAB 2. The first most important requirement is to pass your PLAB 1. Unlike the USMLE, where you'd have you can do the step 2 CK before doing the step 1. With the UK exams, it's not. You have to pass PLAB 1. Everything is sequential, like follow the ladder, pass your PLAB 1 before you can attempt the PLAB 2. And so the fee for PLAB 2 now is like £906. It was £840 before, but obviously now it's obviously going up, so you never can tell. It might go up to £1,000, which is really crazy for an average Nigerian trying to get money for this. And it's not easy, because I remember I was doing 2 jobs just trying to make up money to pay for these exams and pay for academy. I remember after house job, we invested so much money in MMM. What's his name? I think it was Mabrodi or whatever his guy's name was. Eventually carried all our money, and so we had to like do 2 jobs, running around in Lagos, just trying to make ends meet. just to prepare for this exam. So I know that it's not easy for some people. They have supports, but if you, the most important thing is to save it. Yeah, I'm seeing somebody saying MMM and laughing. Yeah, some of us decided to join the quick fix money making venture, which was not a smart move. Anyways, so that's just a slight distraction. So you'd have to save most of your house job money to be able to afford the exam. Is not easy. How much are you getting paid in Port Harcourt? I think the average salary for most doctors is like 120, 140, 150. I don't know about now. So it's really crazy. How do you expect to get, and then you've got family to feed, and then you've got people that think you're a doctor and you have to solve all their problems financially. So it's really, I feel it's really tough for an average Nigerian doctor. So you might have to do 1-2 jobs, or go to Lagos, go to Abuja, some of the big cities, work in big hospitals, because I know that's what I had to do. I've had to go to Lagos, I had to get 2 jobs, and sometimes it was really hectic just to be able to save up. For people that have good support structure, you from a wealthy home, it might just be a piece of cake for you. So finance for the academy, but you have to save for, obviously, because the exam involves obviously not just paying for the PLAB 2, but you'd have to go to an academy. And what the academy does is that it doesn't really, so like the exam is not a stuff exam. I know most of us, most medical students, especially POMSA, you like stuff. Yeah, some people they call them stuff holding forceps. And I remember when I was in med school, I liked it. I liked people that liked stuff. It was stuff of life. But trust me, the exam is, you can carry your stuff into the exam and take it back comfortably. Nobody's going to ask you about your stuff. They don't even care about your stuff. And this is because you don't need your stuff to make the patient better. There are guidelines. Like you can just, it's fascinating. They don't even expect you to know the dose of a medication from the top of your head. There's a BNF, open it and write a prescription. You don't need to, metronidazole 400 milligram TDS, this, you don't need all those kind of stuff. You just need to follow they want you to be safe. That's the most important thing. So saving up, and that's why the academy comes in. So the different academies, there's one called Samson, there's Swami. I think there's one that the Nigerian is doing now. I can't remember the name of the academy, but the academy is like tutorial classes basically. So what they do is that you pay a huge amount of money. It's like £600 actually, but then they tell you about the exam and they give you scenarios. And then they do eventually teach the exam has to that there's like just like you do past questions, there are question banks of different possible scenarios that can come out. So what this academy does is that they give you an idea as to what you would expect in the real exams. So they prime you for the exams. Basically, that's what they do. So it's quite effective. For some people, it's like if you don't do the exams, you might really struggle. I remember I met a consultant, and it's fascinating when we went for academy to do this exam. I think we had academy with consultants, and I remember doing my PLAB 2 academy because we did it in Lagos. Luckily for us, Samson decided to come to Lagos. So we didn't have to pay flight money to go to the UK to do our academy and then wait for the exam. It was that God was just helping me saving a whole lot of cash. So I had to pay for this exam, and so basically we had to do the academy, and I met a consultant during the academy, and he had so much stuff, but his communication skills were so bad. And to be honest, I knew he was going to fail the exam even before the exam started, because he still had the consultant mindset of I am a consultant, you are a patient. So when we practiced with him, it was just obvious that I personally felt like he wasn't going to make it, and results came out and he didn't make it. So you'd have to, whatever you might have to just take it, drop it outside, appreciate what they will teach you in the academy, and learn from them, because it's really helpful. So that's about it. So you'd have, when you pay for the exams, you have to saving up for flights, accommodation, and all the other expenses that will come up. It can be expensive, but with proper planning, you should be okay with it. Next slide, please. So the PLAB 2 exams at the minute, PLAB 2 is written in Manchester. That's like the only place for it. It's called Hardman Street, so that's the place for the exam. It's you go there, and depending on when you're writing, some people write in the morning, and some people write in the afternoon, depending on the timing. So what I would say is that in terms of resources for preparing for PLAB 2, academy is very important. It's actually very, very important. I've seen people that did the exam without academy and passed through it. It's like I said, Socrates will tell you, man, know thyself. If you can do it and you can take the risk of not going for an academy and taking it, and you know that you have the mind, if you have the mind to do it, that's absolutely fine. But if you don't have the mind to do it, the safest bet is to book an academy and go through the process. It takes about 2 weeks during the academy. Rigorous, it can be hectic, really, very, very stressful period. But afterwards, you meet people, you practice with them, people that are on the same level with you. You see people that have been practicing for 6 months, so they're probably levels ahead of you. But you learn from different people, and then you tend to understand how medicine is practiced in the UK. So when you go for the exam, it just makes it a bit easier for you. Books normally that you require, obviously the Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine and all this stuff. To be honest, I never read any Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine when I was preparing for PLAB 2. I just literally did the academy stuff and then 1 or 2 extra stuff online you might read, but the gold standard for everything in the UK is the best practice website is NICE. So if you follow the guidelines from NICE, you are surely safe. So I think whatever they ask you, if whatever your answer is tailored towards guidelines, you should be safe. So that's the NICE guideline. I don't know if it's if you can access it in Nigeria, because I think that's an issue, but if you go through it and read it, it's more or less what you need. You don't really need to hold a big textbook and prepare for PLAB 2 exams, if that makes sense. Next slide. So in terms of preparation for PLAB 2, we recommend 3 to 4 months for preparation to be safe. It's not a hard or fast route. So people do it in 2 months, some people do it in a month. But then 3 to 4 months just to be safe, because you'd have to do the academy, you'd have to process all the information and get ready for the exam. So safe bet, 3 to 4 months is quite safe. So in terms of pass mark for the exam, so each station is scored 12 marks. So there's 4 marks for data gathering, 4 marks for the other part, the clinical management, 4 marks for interpersonal skills. So that's total of 12 marks for each station, and then if you sum everything, you're getting a total of 192 marks. And then in pass marks will depend on the performance of that day. So if you're doing an exam on a day where you have plenty of Nigerians or plenty of Pakistanis, because the exams usually you see Pakistanis and Nigerians and Indians and all this stuff. So just pray that if you have people that are on the same level with you, or maybe you did academy with some people and you looked at this particular guy, this guy is not too good. You feel like, might be better than this guy, and I just pray that both of you are on you're on the same day. You might do better, because it's an average. So if everybody does well on that day, then the cutoff will be high. So if you have poor performance on that day, then obviously the cutoff will be low. So just pray that you have really, really bad people doing the exam with you on that day. It's always fascinating how some of these Asians really pass the IELTS and the PLAB exam, because sometimes you can't even understand their English, but they seem to smash the exams. But that's well, I don't know how we do it, but just pray that the exams are on that day. You have a favorable outcome. So this is basically the recent pass rate for PLAB 2 at the minute. you can see that it's not really. It's if you look at the slide, it's not a bad. The people eventually will pass the exam. It's not a very difficult exam. Over the last 5 years, you could see that in 2017. Number of candidates, the percentage was 78.7, and then it's slightly going down. Up in 2021, it went down to 69.6. So they're making it slightly tougher. Previously, it was 18 stations. Now it's 16, but it's very doable actually. So it's not it's an exam that if you prepare appropriately, you should bypass the exam. It's not. I wouldn't say it is. If you know your stuff, that's fantastic. It's not a stuff exam, but what I've come to realize over the years is that if you know something, it's quite easy to to have the interpersonal skills or communicate better if you know what you're talking about. But when you don't know what you're talking about, that's when you start to stutter, and that's when the communication skills becomes an issue. So it's good to actually have knowledge. I'm saying that the exam is not a stuff exam, but if you have your knowledge, it makes your interpersonal skills a bit. It comes out easily, and then it makes the exam a bit easier for most people. So basically that's just my part, and I'll hand over to whoever is next. And thank you for listening. Thank you. Over to you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you very much, Idibia. Really very insightful. Basically, if you don't have the knowledge, your interpersonal skills will be poor. If you have the knowledge, interpersonal skills will be great. So I'll hand over to Michael, who is going to take us through the steps to EPIC and ECFMG verification, including GMC licensing. Over to you, Michael.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Brian, for this opportunity. Thank you, PUMSI, for giving us this mentorship opportunity as well. It's really a pleasure, to help to basically groom the young ones, more like directing you, because last, you have to make your own decision. So you just basically to give you the necessary information you need to help you make a good informed decision. I'll just go straight to the EPIC verification. So basically, okay, so for you to have your GMC registration, basically, and please pardon me, I'm not able to do a video now. You'll be able to see me personally, but I'm sure I'm a bit very audible. So one of the requirements you need for your GMC registration is your primary medical qualification. And please, can you just give me 2 seconds, please? 2 seconds.
So while we're waiting for him, feel free, write your questions down. There are some questions being answered in the chat box. However, you could still write it down. We could have face-to-face, over Zoom, question and answer at the end of the discussion. So feel free. We are here to answer all your questions for clarity. Michael, are you back?
Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Sorry.
We can hear you clearly.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
All right. So yeah. So one of the requirements, of course, to have your GMC registration is your EPIC verification. And one key important thing you need to have is your MBBS certificate. So if I were to say the best time to start is not really now, you should do it immediately you've got your MBBS certificate. So what does EPIC stand for? Basically, it stands for the Electronic Portfolio and International Credentials, and it's basically an online platform. It's owned by the ECFMG, and is a US organization basically responsible for international medical graduates. I know someone made mention about this earlier on. And then basically what GMC does, they partner with the ECFMG to, assist them to verify credentials for international medical graduates, planning to go into the UK practice. So there are three parts to this EPIC verification, and broadly, we categorize them into the account registration, identifying to identify your verification basically, and the third one, which is credential verification. So this is just like a broad description of, in terms of how to get along with the EPIC verification process. So by and large, it's a process that takes about 2 weeks if things are really done properly. If you are very, very lucky, it can take about 5 days, really. If you are very, very lucky, but it's not likely, most people get it done nothing less than 2 weeks. So basically, GMC is you have your MBBS certificates ready, so that gives you an automatic go to do your EPIC verification. And thankfully, Uniport is recognized under the EPIC Employ platform, so it saves a little bit of hurdle. I'm not sure if there's any school that is not really accredited or are not recognized by the EPIC. So I think most schools we are no longer in the Stone Age anymore. And it's important for me to emphasize that there are other certificates, there are other things that EPIC actually verify. They actually verify your WAEC, they actually verify your primary school leaving certificates, even postgraduate certificates, But the only one you need is your MBBS certificates. You don't need anything more than that, at least for the context of this EPIC registration and getting your accounts. So I'm not sure if we had a link. I don't know, is there a link that to go for the EPIC verification? There should be, if I'm not mistaken. I think Brian should be able to pop that in the slides or something.
Michael, can you see the slide?
Not seeing the slide.
Can you see the slide?
I can only see you. I'm not seeing the slide.
I also cannot see the slide, please. Slide. Okay, thanks. The slide is back.
Can we see the slide now?
Yes, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks.
So I can see the slide as well now. Thank you.
Yeah, great. So there's the link here.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's the link. Thank you. So you need that link, to open your account. So guys, this is the link. So the thing is that I'll be very, very honest and very candid with you guys. This thing, there's money involved, so we need to talk about it, and it's very important. So the cost of opening the account is basically $130. These things keep increasing. Anyway, so make sure your card is funded and ready for you to start, because someone made mention about the restrictions about spending in dollars or pounds. So try to have someone that will help you do it if you don't have a domiciliary account and all that. So in terms of the documents needed, so you need your passport photograph and you need your data page of international passports. So, and actually those two documents are just, to get started, and they shouldn't be, they should be less than 2 MBs so that they can be valid on the online. So, yeah, so while in the process, you just fill in and submit, you do your normal, it prompts you on what to do. You upload your passport, you upload your photograph, and mind you, you cannot abort the account opening process. Like, you just have to go with it, And once your account registration is successful, you will get an email that tells you that your EPIC showing you, or an email showing your EPIC identification number. So please and please and please, that number will be used to retrieve your verification credentials from the EPIC platform. So do yourself a good favor and keep it safe. If you want to start it, yeah. So the second step, remember I made mention about 3 steps. So the first step, like we said, was the account registration. Now we are going to the second step, which is identify your verification now. So in identifying your verification, or you'll be sent as an EPIC itself, and you'll be sent what they call EPIC identification form. That after your account creation has been successful, so you'll be sent an EPIC identification form, which is to be signed by an online notary. And I'm sure it's encompassed in this our slides. Yeah. So it's a process where you have a straightforward. It's not really difficult. It's just a straightforward process. And luckily, this one is free. Well, I'll just say it is free because it's actually not money. They didn't include any money there. But to be very honest, it's not actually free. The cost is actually included in the registration fee. Let's just call a spade a spade. There's nothing really free in this place. So yeah, so the notary is more like a partner. They actually, there's this notary cam website on the EPIC website on itself. So there's more like a collaboration, and they help you in terms of doing a more like call it a physical or face-to-face. They book an appointment, make sure that you have. So they will make sure that they'll first of all send you a message to be sure that you have a webcam, that you have good internet access, you're in a comfortable place. You just want to be sure that when they call you, you'll be able to have a good interaction with them. It doesn't take time. It's just a thing of maybe 10 minutes max or even less. I think mine was, but I was so shocked that it took. So just like 2 minutes. I'll be honest. I just got online. The lady was just speaking through. She finished speaking everything she wanted to say. She said she was even sitting in the comfort of her seat. Then they've not even started working from home. I must be honest with you. She was seated in the comfort of her. She was with a cat. Her pet was just next to her. And she was just pressing her laptop, saying, "Oh, okay, nice." And that was it. See, easy jobs. Anyway, yeah, so it's a very straightforward stuff. Once they just see your face, they just want to see your face. They'll look at your passport there. They can, match it, and that's it. You are sorted. So now the next step is the credential verification. I think this is where we have a little bit of, work to do. This is where the main work is, and this is where we need to be really proactive. So the credential verification now is where you yourself, you have to work and make sure that these things are done quickly. So once your account is fully ready and you've just, uploaded your, MBBS certificate and all that, there are 2 means in which your credentials can be verified: electronically via email and physically through post. And those 2 parts are very, very important. In fact, I would say take this one as your own job. You must do it. Don't leave it in the hands of your provost secretary or whoever is in college secretary, whoever. So you try to follow up. In other words, you should be, proactive. All right. So the cost of this verification now on its own is $100. And thankfully, Uniport, like I said earlier on, is in their portal, is in the electronic portal of the EPIC. So it's not a difficult thing for them to verify you electronically. Yeah, but then again, where there is a bit of challenge is that sometimes they send them information like correspondence, and no one is ready to be looking at those things. Of course, we know our people now. Sometimes they can be so lackadaisical about some task, when they know that it's not going to fetch them anything extra in their pocket, and they want to do it, and no one is chasing them. It's not the college secretary that needs it. It's not the provost that needs it. It's just a mere candidate, a student, or just new graduate that needs it. So they will take their time, but you, because you need it very, very urgently, and you need to, progress in your journey for your lab, you need to get it sorted. So what happens is that Epic will just simply send an email link to the office, which is likely, I think it's college secretary's office, whatever. I think it's somewhere in college secretary's office. So that's where the officer there verifies it, okay? And it's supposed to be a simple thing, but because they are not looking, because they are not searching, no one is chasing them. It's just a click of a mouse, and they verified, you understand? So that's where you now need to chase them. So, but what people do, or what I also did was that I made friends with someone in that college secretary. So, of course, now you have to, grease the hand. Not like the person requested, though. I just did it so that I don't want any stories. I just want it to be done quickly. I'm sorry I'm saying this, but somehow that is how things just go smoothly. That's how you get the attention. So I'm not saying that what you should do. You might not do anything. No, a lot of people didn't do anything and it worked for them. I'm just saying what some persons do and what is done. So you can just make the person to easily, quickly and get it done. So after doing that, I think the next thing is for you to keep chasing them to make sure that they now send. Okay, what happens was that once the email has come to them, they normally so the person in the office now is required to verify you just by doing the click. So once the click is being done, it just basically goes back to them that this person has been verified. So the next thing that happens, basically, Epic sends you the email that they have sent your certificate to your school for verification. Then they will usually include the name and number of the responsible officer, involved. So what I would say is that you can chase it, or you can, pursue it. You can now begin to be proactive about it. You call that number and find out if there's any fees to be paid. Some schools, I think, has I can't really remember how much our school charges, but but they just take note that something has to be paid somehow. You have to pay some bit of money. Is it
Michael,
10K or 5K?
Michael, can you see the slides?
Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll get to that one. We'll get to that. So I'm just getting to the point where you are.
Because it's 50,000 naira to the college provost. It's in the slide.
Okay. So basically, that one, the one you're talking about, is not the one I'm really talking about right now. I'm just talking about the one that you have to, make things go smoothly. This 50,000 you're talking about, I think, is the one you pay to get your to send your your documents back to the Epic. So that they need a courier service for that, and that is what you pay this 50,000 naira for. So in order to get things just running, so it's just about paying here and there and giving some bit of tips. But in the end, once your Epic has been verified and they need to send it back to the ECFMG, to the officials themselves, so you have to pay a returning courier fee of about 50,000 naira, and then and things get done. So just to point some bit of notes, if you have done the ECFMG verification before, which is unlikely that anyone has done now because you've not got your I think for PLAB, you've not got your MBBS certificate. But if you by chance anyone who has got a certificate has done it before, then congrats, you have actually scaled a part. But then now Epic is not equal to ECFMG. You just have to take that. You just have to take note of that. You will still have to open an Epic account and of course notarize it. And that one, it costs you about £130. I'm speaking for someone who has actually done the ECFMG verification before. So ECFMG is not the same as Epic. You still have to open an Epic account and get it notarized. Yeah. Anyway, that's just in passing. So I'll just quickly summarize. Okay, before I summarize, while you're opening your Epic account, okay, please indicate that you are going to send it to the GMC, even if you are not ready to write the exam yet. Because if you don't do it, you have to delay and it takes a bit longer. It delays and it might cost you an extra $45. So the earlier you just let them know that it's going to GMC. Simple. They know. They are not the first person doing it, so they know what you mean by telling them that. And some of them might even ask you, is it for GMC, is it for UK? So in summary about the EPIC, there are 3 steps like I earlier mentioned. So following the steps, you hardly will go wrong. So you will spend some money, you spend £130, you spend $100, you spend £50 and 50,000 naira. You know, get your documents ready, get your passport photo, get your international passport ready, and of course your DBS certificate. Those are documents you need. So I would, at this point, I'm going to go to the, so what you just, from now, if I were you, like as a student, now that you are still in school, just try now to, of course, save up some money if you can. Once you graduate, you definitely will get your MBBS certificate. If you want to start doing your international passports right now, I wouldn't say you should just worry about that. Yes, you will get it done sometime, but you need it. Of course, everyone has a passport photo. So just get your MBBS certificate first. Every other thing might get itself sorted out, basically. So I'll just quickly rush and let's talk about the next topic, which is applying for GMC license. Yeah. Of course, we know what GMC means. We know what it takes to get to your GMC license part. You need to have passed your Lab 1. You need to have passed your IELTS. You need to have passed your Lab 1, and you need to have, passed your Lab 2. So, congratulations. You've actually succeeded in getting your EPIC verification and passing your Lab 2. So, the next thing you want to do, you want to start processing your certificate of good standing. So in getting a certificate of good standing, basically, it's cost about 66,000 naira. And normally it's something that this is sent to the GMC and a copy provided for you, like MDCM portal. You need to do, how do I explain this now to make sense? So certificate of good standing is more like it's like certifying that this doctor is a certified doctor, which I think is, I don't know why they have to certify you after you're doing yes, doctor, whatever. Anyway, so this certificate of good standing is a document is sent to the GMC. So when you ask for it, you apply for it, you tell them you want it to be sent to the GMC, and they get it done for you. All you just need to pay your 66,000 naira, and it's provided for you. They give you a copy of it, and they send a copy to GMC. If you request for your copy, they give to you. So if you want them to send it to GMC, they send it to GMC as well. So it costs basically 66K. So that's what you just need to have handy. Another requirement for your GMC registration is your what we call Form F. So there are 2 ways to go about it. It's either you go with your Form F, or you are going with NDCN house job completion letter, more like from your, what's it called? From your, after your house job. So what is done is that once you're done with your house job, you have some bit of, you have to sign off in your various departments before you can actually be certified as you've completed your house job. So there's this Form F that is one of the forms you need to get signed. So it's either you have your Form F handy signed, or you get a concise letter from your house job, what's it called, admin, the admin office. Yeah, they will put all the departments you worked in, put the dates you worked there, and you'll have it signed by the, who's it called, is it the head of clinical service now, or whoever it is that is the head of your house job facility, or wherever you did your house job. Alternatively, you can just pay like 20K to NDCN and they can issue you one. But why do you want to spend that amount of money when you can easily just submit your Form F without any hassle? So save your 20K for other important things, please. All right. So other documents that you need for your GMC registration, of course, is valid IELTS. I think IELTS now is valid for 3 years. While I'm saying this valid because I know some people who actually had a bit of long period of stay after they passed their platoon to when they got their GMC registration. No. After they wrote their IELTS before they finished their platoon. So if you exceed the validity of the IELTS, unfortunately, you need to write it again and meet up to your, requirements. So yes, you need to write, you have to have a valid IELTS or OET or whatever proficiency of English language test they require from you. But commonly, it's your IELTS or OET. So yeah, having that, yeah, you have to have that. Then you have to pay for the GMC registration, of course. That's costing you another £156. So, and that was then, but currently, GMC is paying, GMC asking you for £161. That's big money right there. And that's just because you are less than 5 years postgraduate. If you are more than 5 years postgraduate, which no one is here, like which you guys are not involved in, you have to pay more than that. So £161 is the amount of money. So we're giving you this guide because probably when you are ready for this night, it may have increased. So just have this at the back of your mind. This is just more like, it's not really fixed, it's tentative. Then it was 156, now it's 161. So, and of course, you need to have your international passports. So I'll just run through it again, just so that we can, have it understood for your GMC registration. You have your verification done already. You have to have your certificate of good standing, which costs you about 66K. You have to have your Form F, get a Form F, keep your Form F. So persons misplace their own. And this Form F is something you submit to your GMC when you are trying to, after you finish your house job and you are trying to get your permanent license. So if by chance, because once you submit it there, you can't retrieve it. So have a hard copy of it so that you might need it, because you might need it later. You understand? So I know some people that actually couldn't find their Form F in their NDCM portal. They don't have the hard copy, probably due to movement from here and there, it got misplaced along the way. So they now have to either subject to paying the 20,000 or going to their house job, where they did their house job, to beg the admin to give them another form. So that's some kind of stress you want to really avoid. Okay. And of course, have your IELTS, your valid IELTS, have a copy of your MBBS certificate, have your international passport. So I think with this, you will be, and basically the verification does not take, in fact, it's once you send it to GMC, once you send all these complete documents to GMC, if you send it on Wednesday, they verify you before Friday. So it's a quick thing. They don't even need you to, the next thing you just see is that congratulations, blah, 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 you have been GMC registered, the GMC number is blah, 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 stuff like that. So once you give them everything, you don't have any problem with them. But when you are lacking any of the documents, you keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They will stop until they get everything sorted out. So
thank you very much,
guys,
Michael.
for this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michael. Very grateful for this for detailed explanation. So I understand everybody. It's overwhelming. There's a lot of information being thrown at you. There's a lot to get in. Don't worry. I understand Tangod is making a record of this. I'm sure he should make it available for everyone. You could take time at your free time to actually listen and also assimilate. If there are any questions, write it down. We'll answer it going forward. Bear with us. The information is too much. That's how it is when you're exposed to new information all at once. So I'm going to move over to the next presentation, which will be done by myself. Now, someone asked on the chart, in the chart, saying, what's the estimate? How much is required? Yes, we knew that's a concern for everybody. So this is just a brief discussion about the financial requirements for the UK pathway itself. So this is a summary of everything that we've been talking about. £240 here, $130 here, £250 here. This is a summary, just so you have a bird's eye view of what's required. So IELTS booking, like Chizukwa has rightly said, would cost you about 83,000 naira. If you're going for OET will be about 150,000 naira. So you know that. The PLAB 1 exam is £240. And then estimately, now we can't use, when you're converting this money, you don't use the CBN rate. CBN rate is not the same rate at which you would buy it. You're going to buy it like black market. It's about 765, 770 currently. And God help us, hopefully Naira doesn't lose value more. If it loses more value and the exchange rate becomes 800 Naira to £1, that even becomes more devastating. So this is 765. That's the conversion rate I used at this point in time. So PLAB 1 is £240. Plabable subscription, that's the online subscription for PLAB 1, is about $25, and $25 is for a 5-month subscription. So it's about 11,000 naira. Now PLAB 2 cost is £906, which is estimately 693,000 naira. Academy, like we've told you, Academy is the more like a tutorial kind of online, whether online or on-site, where you physical tutorials where you tend to practice your PLAB 2 skills. So there's a caveat where they say if you come with a group of 5, that's if 5 of you are registering at the same time, each of you will pay £550. If you're registering individually, you will pay £650. So depending on the one you want to do, but the conversion rate was for 650, which is 497,000 naira. That's what PLAB 2 Academy would cost you. The financial requirement for visa. So usually to apply for PLAB 2 visa, that's the visa to come to the UK and write your PLAB 2. You're required to have a certain amount of money in your account. Now that money is, it tells the visa and immigration office that, oh, this person can take care of themselves while when they come to the UK, they won't be stranded. These guys, they're also very caring. They're like, do you have what's required to, sort your feeding, sort your transport, sort your accommodation? That's why they have the caveat of about 900,000 naira should be in your account at the time you're applying for PLAB 2 visa. Now, if you're using a sponsor, for instance, one thing you must know about sponsor is the sponsor must be related to you. It's either your parents, your uncle, but you guys will be very much related and you can describe how you are related. So if you're using a sponsor, you should have at least personal money should be about 500,000 naira in your own account, with other, with your sponsors, account as well, but yours should be about 500,000 naira. The visa for PLAB 2 is about $136, which is 56,000 naira estimately. Flight to come to the UK, because like Idibia told you, PLAB 2 is only written in the UK at Manchester. So the flights to come in to and fro is about 450,000 naira estimately. It depends on what the flight fee is at the time. Accommodation here in the UK, say for instance, you're going to stay for 10 days. Estimately, I put it at £200. So you're looking at about 153,000 naira. Miscellaneous, normally you must always account for miscellaneous. Let's say miscellaneous is £200 as well, and that is 153,000. Furthermore, now congratulations, you've done your PLAB 1, passed your PLAB 2. Now you're about to do your GMC registration. Like Michael has told you just recently, the cost of GMC license is about 161,000 naira. Certificate of good standing, like Michael has also told you, would cost you about 67 to 70,000 naira. So I just put it 70,000 naira so that we just cap it at that. Epic verification, like he has told you as well. He said $130 here, $100 in the other part. They're all on the slides. They're all in the record. But total of $230, 167,000 naira. Something I did not even add here in this is the 50,000 naira you pay to the provost college secretary or provost office. That should be added here as well. But let's keep that aside. Now, congratulations, you've gotten your GMC license, you've applied for a job. Now you are ready to come into the UK, ready to migrate. The visa for migration is about £247, and your flight toll, because you won't be there's no to and fro, it's going to be toll. You're coming to the UK, you're coming to work. though it's about what? It's about 300,000 naira. So this is an estimate of the financial requirements for this UK pathway. Now you're looking at about 4 million, estimately 4 to 4.5 million. That is the financial, requirement that you need, to come into the UK. Just so you know, this would not be all at once. You could see there are several stages. You pass your IELTS first, you pass your PLAB 1, you pass your PLAB 2, you get your GMC license, you apply for jobs. So it's a gradual process. Don't be overwhelmed by the entire money. Plan. All you need to do is to plan. And when you plan, you can get things done. Now, furthermore, now congratulations, you've gotten your GMC license. Let's talk about getting your first job in the UK. Usually, following your, following getting your GMC license, you need to come into the UK. Now, unlike the US, where you come into the UK, you go to the US, straight from Nigeria into residency. That doesn't really happen in the UK. In the UK, when you come into the UK, you start off as working in a hospital as a doctor in the hospital. So the hospital, employs you. Afterwards, you can then apply for residency. We'll tell you about residency down the line. The next presenter would discuss residency with you, how to get into residency. But your first job in the UK usually is not a training job, So when you've got your GMC license, you want to apply for jobs using this website, Track Jobs or NHS website. These two sites are where you can apply for jobs. And all you need to do is to put in some information there. They'll ask you about your career progression, and with that, you would, you would apply for your jobs, and hopefully you get an interview and then get a job. Just so you know, roughly, I've come to realize that takes about 2 to 3 months on an average after you've gotten your GMC license to actually get your job in the UK. So plan towards that timeline. However, people have gotten it earlier than that, within a month. People have gotten job within a month. In fact, I've even seen some of my mentees they've gotten jobs after PLAB 2. So they've registered in their PLAB 2. They said they're not going back to Nigeria because they have 6 months visitor's visa. So they stay back. And while they were here, they kept applying for jobs. And within that period of time, got jobs. They didn't need to go back to Nigeria. While they were in the UK, did all their job requirement, all the requirements, and started their job. So yeah, getting your first job is pretty easy. The hard part is passing your exams and getting your license. So that's it. I would, at this point in time, hand over to one of my mentors to tell us about the pathways to UK residency. Chuma, please, the floor is all yours.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's been a really long day, and I can imagine your heads are full with information. Do we want to hear about residency training in the UK? Do we really want to? Because I'm just imagining, if I was listening to all this, they've told me what I need to get to where I am is 4 million at least. And then in my head, I'm thinking, what am I going to do? How many nights of prostitution will this cost? How much do I need to steal? Do we need to bring back MMM? And these are all valid questions. These are all valid concerns. What I can tell you is it quickly pays off. Moving to the UK is very daunting, but it quickly pays off. And there was something that Alex said, which is that unlike the US, your first job in the UK won't be a residency job. For most people, that is true, and that will be my advice. It's technically possible to have your first job in the UK be a training job. Right, so I'm going to use the term training because that's what we call it. Residency training. In the UK, we call it training. So if you hear me talking about training, I'm talking about residency. It's technically possible for you to have your first job in the UK as a training job, most likely going to be general practice. If that's your cup of tea, that's fine. But if you want to do something else, that's fine as well. There are lots of myths about getting into training in the UK that, I mean, whatever it is, we had it. You can't be a surgeon. You can't do O&G. You can't do pediatrics. They're all lies. They are. I'll use Alex as an example. Alex is my very good friend, and we've had several conversations about your residency training, haven't we? And I remember at first he wanted to do neurosurgery, and they said, "Oh, you can't do neurosurgery. You're an international medical graduate. You've been 2 years since you finished school." Lots of rubbish people would say. But that's their reality, and it's not yours. One of the good things I like about the UK is the UK rewards hard work. If you work hard, it's going to pay off. That's the truth. So I'm not going to bore you with long talk. I'm just going to dive right into it. To get into training in the UK, first of all, you need to decide what do you want to do. There are several specialties, but the way the UK groups it is, there are two main types of specialty programs. There is one you get into and you just start from your first year of training to the end, and you don't need to apply again. Or there's one you get into and after a few years, you have to reapply. Most specialty trainings in the UK run for between 5 to 7 years, except for GP. GP is 3 years, which is why a lot of Nigerians love it. I can't fault them. After that, I think the next shortest one is psychiatry. Psychiatry is 5 years. And then my specialty, emergency medicine, is 6 years. And then you talk about the medical specialties. So the medical specialties, you're talking about general internal medicine, acute medicine, all the medicines, it's about 7 years. And then you talk about the surgical specialties. So the surgical specialties can be 7 years, but if you want to do some subspecialization, you're looking at 9 years. Then if you're a bit crazy and you want to do dual specialization, say for example, I'm thinking about getting dual specialization in anesthesia and emergency medicine. I'm looking at 10 years of training. If you want to do, say, anesthesia and critical care, you're looking at 10 years of training. The good thing is, or maybe not the good thing, the argument I have for it is you're going to be working regardless, whether you're doing a training in anything, you're doing a training in general practice, or you're doing a training in cardiothoracic surgery, you're going to be working. And if you're going to be working for 10 years, you might as well get a qualification you like out of it. That's my argument. A lot of people will not agree with this. I mean, I said to myself, I plan to work for the next 10, 20, 30 years. And if I'm going to be working in 10 years' time, what I would like to do is the time I am working now, let me use it to get something out of it. And so at the end of 10 years, I can get 2 qualifications out of it. That's fine, because if you become a consultant, it doesn't mean you stop working. So if you become a consultant in 5 years or in 6 years or in 7 years, you're still going to keep working as a consultant for a longer period of time. So why don't you just get all the qualifications you can out of it? Okay, so I tend to go off topic a lot, please bear with me. So the training programs, like I mentioned, there are two main ways, the coupled and the run-through. The run-through training program means you apply for training once and that's it. The training program in the UK, the way it's organized is, it's very simple. There is a national portal that does the training program, all right? And it's called Oriel. And you register with Oriel, and when the training windows open, you apply. We have 2 main training windows in the UK. The training rotation that starts in August and the training rotation that starts in February. August is the commonest one. February, There are some training rotations that start then, but it's not as, you don't have a lot of specialties taking people in February as you would in August. So what you need to do, and this is very important, before you start your first job in the UK, you need to find out what specialty you want to apply for training in and start working towards it. Every specialty would list their job description and person specification for the different levels of training they want on Oriel's website. So I'm an emergency medicine trainee, and I'm going to talk a lot based on what my experience is, but it also reflects, it's something you can extrapolate to other specialties. So when you apply for your first year of training, there is a person specification of things they want you to have. And it's important that you familiarize yourself with this, because you're going to be scored based on these principles or what have you. Now, what I can mention to you, if there is anything you take away from all this talk, I'm talking about training program in the UK, what you can do while you're in school is to acquire points that is going to serve you in the long term. In Nigeria, we don't talk about things like, we don't talk about these things we're doing now. We don't consider them as being important. But when you're applying for training, they want to know if you've been involved in leadership, if you've been involved in teamwork, if you've been involved in any sort of teaching. Something that well, maybe a lot of people don't, but something I didn't really consider important, or something I felt was a waste of my time, was NYSC. And I did my NYSC and I suffered through it. When I applied for my residency training, and having done NYSC and finished it, it was counted as a national honor for me, and it gave me 3 points out of 32. So it's something that it's very easy to get. But the truth is, we have a lot of these points that we can get quite quickly while we are still in school, that once you're done with school, you may never be able to get again. So if you've ever been a class rep, if you've ever had to lead a team or lead a group for any of your tutorial sessions, or if you've done a tutorial, or if you've done a presentation, whether it's at departmental level or it's at the class level. So I know we do a lot of things like, we do a lot of tutorials, we do a lot of seminars and presentations. All those things will help you a lot because they will accrue points for you. And in your final year, you will do a project, and you will do a project that you do with a group, and eventually you will print your project. If you can get your project published in any of the African journals, Nigerian journals, or West African journals, published, that is it, you've got a publication. And if you get it published in a West, I got my project published in a West African journal, and that counts as an international publication. That will count as points for you. These things may not make sense to you now, and you may wonder if when the time comes, it's still going to be valid. The truth is, whatever experience you have now, you have it. Whatever you achieve now, you've achieved it, and nobody can take it away from you. So even if it is 5, 7, 10 years down the line, it is your experience, it is your achievement, and you can always refer to that. So what I will advise now is, if you do not, yes, I know it's important for us to pass exams because that's how we get forward, but I think it would be also beneficial for us to participate in other things that are not strictly academic. So I know that we do CUMSA week and we do FICA week, and then we do FICA sports. Participating in sporting events also gives you points, which is ridiculous because in Nigeria, nobody would ever talk about whether you were a sportsman, but participating in sporting events gives you points. Doing things like drama, doing things like singing in a choir, doing things like poetry, they all give you points. In the past few years, training program has become very competitive, and it's not because people it's not because people are not getting into training programs, or it's not because people are not knowledgeable, but everybody is book smart. Everybody is so smart. So when you talk about things they have achieved in the medical field, there is no competition there. Everybody is on the same level. But we want to talk about other things that can bolster your application, and that is why I talk about all these other things. So the training program, like I mentioned, there is the coupled and the uncoupled. The uncoupled training program is where you have things where you do a core training. So in the core training, it lasts for about 2 to 3 years, and you have specialties like general medicine, most of the surgical specialties, and the acute care specialties like emergency medicine. You can have a core training for about 2 to 3 years. And then afterwards, you have to reapply to get into the training program again. The good thing, like I mentioned, about the training program is it's organized nationally. So you apply for the training that you want, and you can apply for more than one training at a time, which is really fantastic. You apply for the training you want, and you make sure that you meet the criteria they have set out. And you do the interview. Before, it used to be you apply for the training, then you get ranked, you get longlisted, and then you get shortlisted for an interview. And then COVID came around and they stopped doing interviews in person, and you now have to do an MSRA test, which is a test they use to filter people from longlisting into shortlisting, and different specialties would have their set cutoff for the long listing. The good thing is the same exam, and you can use it for all the specialties. Again, the exam is free, you don't have to pay for it, and you can do it for as much as you need to. So you don't have to worry about what it's going to cost you. You just have to work hard to pass it. But when you've worked in the UK for 6 months, at least, you understand why the exam is the way it is, and you understand what it's examining. It's not all the things it's examining your clinical knowledge and clinical skills, but it's examining it in a completely different way. Okay, so yeah, basically that's it. Training program in the UK, you can get into any specialty you want to. You can put me on this, any specialty you want to. You can get into it. Just be ready to work hard. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take them at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Chuma. Very grateful. It's always lovely hearing from you. So yes, Chuma has actually told us a lot about the specialty training. And like I said before, it's a lot of information. It's new. It's mind-boggling. Don't worry, it will make sense going down the line. So just take your time, make some notes, take in the ones you can take in. There's going to be a record. This slide is going to be available to you. So just relax about it. So I'm going to take the last bits of this presentation, which is how to strengthen your CV for residency. So Chuma's thrown some light about some things. So these 10 items here are the, should I say, the backbone of how to, strengthen your CV for residency. Just so you know, as a background information, the guys that train here in the UK, in a way, they are 10 steps ahead of us. Why do I say that? They start early. You must start early. So usually you see a first year, second year medical student here. He already knows he wants to go into surgery. You see him linking up with residents, linking up with consultants. You see him thinking about courses to attend, attending conferences. You see him or her presenting at conferences as well. So these guys start early. That's one thing you need to know. Now, most of us didn't know this. We don't know this back home. And I can see in the chat box, you guys do a lot of volunteering, a lot of leadership, a lot of teaching, a lot of things you do. One thing you must do from today henceforth, if there's anything to take home from strengthening your CV, is ensure you get your certificate after everything you do. So you volunteered for PUMSA should take note of this, Tankori, and then this is something that you can pass across to the next president. And then also organize.
We're already on it, sir.
Very good. And other organizing bodies. Very good. Everybody that volunteers for anything should get a certificate for it. Anybody that's, gets involved with, teaching or goes for outreaches should get a certificate to say, thank you very much. This is to prove that you were here, you did this, because those things will count going forward, like Chuba has said. So I would advise, start early, start building your portfolio early. Chuma has already mentioned something about person specification. So you want to come to the UK. What do you want to do when you come to the UK? Is it O&G? Is it pediatrics? Look at their person specification and start building your portfolio. So I would use portfolio interchangeably with CV. Start building your portfolio along the line early as a medical student. Now, secondly, strive for academic excellence. It counts. Those academic awards, those BGSs and distinctions you get, they definitely count. They help you boost your portfolio. Going forward, other academic excellence, things like, winning quiz prizes during PUMSA competition, NIMSA international CMDA competition, quiz competition, winning those prizes are very, academic prizes. They definitely count, because when you're applying for residency, they will ask you, what are the academic awards you've gotten as a medical student? Oh, first position in this, what's the evidence? You show them certificates, or you show them the plaque, or you show them a letter confirming that you had this academic excellence. And those are the things that would count towards, building your portfolio for residency. That's something we need to take note of. Something that can also build your portfolio is attending courses. So there are a lot of courses available, PUMSA have some courses. There are other surgical courses available that would help boost your portfolio. For instance, the Medical Women M1, in Nigeria, Medical Women Association of Nigeria, they have some, they organize conferences sometimes. They organize, some workshops. Attend those workshops, get your certificates. They would add up. They will add up. So I gave some courses here: BLS, basic life support, advanced life support. If there's any hospital you hear offering this, attend, learn, get your certificate. Like I said, if there's anything like you take on from here, start gathering your certificates for everything. Now, like you all know, back when I was in school, I did a lot of things, but I didn't get certificates for this. I just do this from the bottom of my heart. But coming down here, I realized that I needed certificates for these things you've done. You've done this, Brian. You've done this. You've done that. You've done this. Where are the certificates? I didn't have them because when I finish, it's a handshake. Thank you very much for what you've done. Welcome to my TED Talk. So I had to reach out to Rotifa, Femi, who was the president at the time. I said, oh, Femi, I need certificates for the things I've done. Please, these are the things I've done. Get me certificates for this. And that was how I got certificates for things that I did 6-7 years ago. So start getting your certificates. So attend courses, attend conferences, depending on what you want to do. If you want to go into surgical specialty, if there's any surgical conference you hear of, attend them. Now, one thing you need to know about conferences is this: you can attend international conferences. So there's national conferences, there are international conferences. If you attend international conferences, you get more marks. So just so you know as well, as a medical student, there's a lot of things you can get away with. Conferences can be cheaper for you because there's a lot of discounts. You get up to 50% discounts. Sometimes you can even get a free, or should I say, travel grant for international conferences. Just for instance, you have a presentation you want to make. You submitted it to this conference and they accepted it and they invited you over to come around and make this presentation. They would give you a travel grant because, first of all, you're a medical student. Secondly, you're from a third world country, which is Nigeria, bless us, and so they give us some of this token. So you have this discount to travel, and guess what? You're going to be enjoying tourism alongside presenting your paper, which will count hugely in building your CV. And as well, you'd also link up with other members of the society and increase your networking. So there's a lot of opportunity in attending conferences. I don't know anyone coming up I know the ones here in the UK, but I'm sure that there should be some in Nigeria where you can actually apply, and attend, even international ones, like I've said earlier. Take up electives. Electives are very key. Now, ASU is on strike. There's a lot of time you have at hand. Go to that specialty you're interested in. If it's O&G, go to O&G, talk to the HOD, talk to a consultant, join them, shadow them. Those are electives. Tell them that you want to cover them, want to shadow them for a period of time. And make sure you get a letter saying that, oh, you've undertaken this shadow period or an elective for this duration of time. Always mention the duration you had that, because it's very key. If you're applying for residency, they'll ask you, have you taken electives? And for instance, you're applying for O&G. And if you've done an elective for O&G for 2 months, that would really count, because it means that this person has shown commitment to O&G, has shown that they're interested in actually doing O&G or pediatrics, for instance. Now, instead of staying back at home, you can go to pediatrics and say, for the 4th-year students or probably 5th-year students who are interested in pediatrics, and say, join the residents, join the consultants. And at the end of the day, probably in a month or two after you've been going and attending clinics, probably theaters, probably ward rounds with them, they give you a letter saying, oh, thank you very much for attending, for joining us for this duration of time. That serves as your elective. Make sure you just talk to the consultant and say, can I get a letter saying that I attended this or have been here for this period of time? More like an elective, If you have opportunity to do a foreign observership, this is the time. Travel, make that travel. Go to, come to the UK, go to the US if you have relatives there who can invite you. Go there, go to a hospital. You can walk into any door, talk to them. You're a medical student. You definitely have, what's it called? You have, they have a soft spot. We have soft spot for medical students that want to learn. People that have proved to us that they are willing to actually go the extra mile. We want to help them. So go to these hospitals and tell them you want to probably, do an observership. They would allow you. They will take you in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, depending on how long you want to stay. It would count. It counts very heavy. And guess what? If you've graduated, you can't do electives anymore, because electives are for undergraduates. As a postgraduate, yes, you can do electives, but those undergraduate electives count as well. Going forward, if you have time, if you have opportunity of doing masters or PhD, jump on it. Go do it. They will definitely boost your portfolio. Get involved in teaching. We teach a lot. So teaching was one of the certificates I needed to collect from Femi going forward. Get involved with teaching, and either locally, if NIMSA has a teaching program booked, go get involved. Get your certificate at the end of the day. And as well, don't go there aiming for certificates. Go there aiming to impact those students, and while at it, get something for yourself. What we can do in PUMSA is academic board chairman. We can actually see at the end of the year, instead of giving certificates at every teaching section, at the end of the year, those people that have contributed, we take record of them and give them recognition that they've been involved in teaching in this year. Those ones would count. So academic board chairman, if you're on, that's something we can do. Get involved with audits and research. Chuma has mentioned it. Your final year research is very key. Publish that research. That's your first research, as a medical student, technically. Make sure you publish that research. However, get involved with residents and consultants within the hospital. They have research going on all the time. You can also learn from them and improve yourself going forward. So get involved with research, make sure you get published. They would boost your CV. Presentation in conferences and local meetings. This is very clear. If you have anything to present, go ahead and make those presentations. They will count because you get your certificates and they help boost your CV for application. Finally, get involved in leadership. Thank God is currently the president. At the end of the day, thank God gets a certificate or probably a plaque, definitely. Leadership, he has led for about a year in the association. It will count going forward in leadership for him. If thank God goes ahead to take probably a NIMSA role, probably in a national level, that counts even better. So just so you know, the higher the role you take, the better it is. So having a regional role in a way, is higher than having a local role. Having a national role or an international role is higher as well. So the higher you go up the ladder, the better. So those leadership opportunities, Scopa, those Scopa in NIMSA, that's, thank God, am I pronouncing this right? Is it Scopa? Is Tango there?
Yes. You are, sir.
Yeah, so Scopa, those guys, that's a national leadership opportunity. Those guys are high up there because those are international leadership. If you have those in International Federation of Medical Students, is he IFIMSA? What's the
IFMSA?
IFMSA, exactly. Yeah, the IFMSA guys, international leadership opportunity. The higher, the better. So these are steps you can use in building your CV, improving your portfolio, aimed at improving your competition ability when applying for residency. So this is where we draw the line, and on today's presentation. These are the resources we've used. We've added some of the resources in the slides, like you've seen before. Now it will be time for question and answer. We're happy to take questions. I would probably prefer if it can be done orderly. You can raise your hand and we can, yeah, exactly. So Ali Dixon is raising his hand. So Ali Dixon will have the floor. Very brief, straight to the, ask the question. We'll take 5 questions and answer them at once and then keep going until we are tired. Hopefully. So Ali Dixon, can we start with Ali Dixon?
Okay, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation, sir. My question is, like, for those that just got a job in the UK, like, what's the estimate, like, how much is the monthly pay? Not for the residency, I mean, those that just passed PLAB 2. What's the estimate? Because it's very important to us, sir. Thank you, sir.
Very good, very good. Okay, Prudence, can I get your question?
Hey, good evening, my chiefs, and thank you guys for presenting these great opportunities to us. I want to know, talking about IELTS and co. A friend of mine who was trying to do a program in the UK recently said she did not need to use IELTS as a proof of English proficiency. The Uniport gave her a kind of another certification for that, and it scaled through. So I'm trying to know, does it not also apply for PLAB 2? Does it not also apply for international medical graduates, or it must be IELTS? Very good,
very good question. Just to confirm, what program is your friend doing now?
She's going for a master's.
She's going for a master's, yeah?
Yes.
Did she need any proof of English for migration to go do her master's?
When she was applying, the one I'm sure of is when she was applying for the
she did not need it.
English, she did not need. She just needed the exemption from Uniport.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, there's a. I'm going to start with you, Prudence, and then I would probably call on other members of the other members of the panelists to answer other questions. So I'm going to answer this, Prudence. So generally, there's a caveat where it said that once your primary medical education was English, at least 75% of this primary medical quality of education, that's your medical career, your medical school was taught in English, 75% of it, without being translated. You can get a letter of exemption and then, progress and apply for PLABs and then IELTS. That route is there, but that route is not really, we don't really explore that route so well, to be honest. We don't really explore that route so well. However, if there's a way you can get those letters and you've confirmed that those letters can work, good and fine. But, generally what we know is for the PLAB routes, you need your IELTS. You need your IELTS or your OET, because those are certificates that would help you, register for the exam, as well as if you're migrating, your IELTS is very essential for migration. So that's what I know. However, I would ask the other panelists if they are aware of any situation where we had to use the letter to apply for to use for migration purpose. Other members of the panelists can answer if anyone knows.
I think for the GMC, what they expect is the IELTS or OET. I think you're possibly talking about things like UK NARIC, where people confirm that they studied in English. There are countries where the GMC actually accept this, but not from Nigeria. So, and I won't say not from Nigeria, not from most schools in Nigeria. I think a school like University of Ibadan is exempted, and I think one other university in Nigeria is exempted. But aside that, almost 90% of Nigerian schools have to produce IELTS or OET.
I think Unilag is exempted as well. So University of Ibadan and Unilag.
Yeah. So from what Prudence said, so if Uniport, if the lady in question was able to get from Uniport, then probably Uniport is now currently being exempted. So those are things we need to actually explore and see.
Sorry, the lady in question is talking about masters, and
masters,
for masters it's a different thing. It depends on the university. So for masters, that I know even some schools don't require IELTS anymore.
Okay.
IELTS. So that's different from the GMC. So they are going for something different. You are a medical person and you're coming to register with the GMC. So for now, what we know was on the GMC website is you need IELTS or an OET to register.
Okay, Chuma wants to say something.
At the end of the day, you still need IELTS to get your visa, that IELTS UK VI. So why don't you just go for it from the very start?
Yeah, Chuma, please. Chuma, we're hearing, we're all ears. Hello. Okay, yeah. So we've lost him. Prudence, because it's masters. So masters is dependent on the school. So the school can say we don't need IELTS, we don't need OET. Just give us a letter that you're taught in English. It's fine by us. But GMC wants us to use IELTS or OET. Those are the two proof of English they use for now. That said already, the second question about how much you earn, which is very good question, very, very good question. So I'm going to leave that to Gabriel to answer it, please.
And how much do we earn? I really don't even know myself. I really don't know myself. Well, you see, what I would tell you is that it is rewarding. As Chuma said initially, it's rewarding. I think it would not be right for me to say, oh, a GMC doctor earns this particular salary or this particular whatever, because I mean, it depends on the trust you get. It depends on, so many things. But basically, I think to answer the question in a more nice way for everybody is that I'll tell you that on the average, a doctor in the UK belongs to the middle class of the society. So, I mean, whatever you count as the middle class of the society is the middle class. So on that average, what that means is that you can pay your rent very well, and then you could also eat properly. And then of course, you can also, you could also take care of your parents who are possibly in Nigeria or wherever they are. And you could also be a very nice friend to some of your friends that need assistance while they are still there. Basically, you wouldn't expect someone to tell you, oh, this is the exact salary, because I don't know what Brian earns. I can only have an average in my head of what he earns. And again, at the end of the day, these earnings, we are careful to say these earnings, not because they are so big and we are so scared and all that, but we don't want to give you a false impression. For example, if I tell you, for example, let me just put up a figure. If I tell you, oh, the average doctor earns, let me put on a figure that is not true. If I say the average doctor earns £500 per month, then I should be able to tell you that the house rent of that average doctor is £300 per month. I should be able to tell you the average cost of transport is this or that or that. So I think the figure is not the right answer to give, but it's just to tell you that you belong to the middle class of the society. You'll be fine. You'll be able to take care of yourself and also take care of your parents down in Nigeria and also help friends around. I don't know if that answer is good enough. Other panelists can also help to give you what you need.
Well, the question about money is something that we try to shy away from. One thing about the UK is that we're very, like Pekon has said already, we're good, we're very, very careful how we answer questions. But Pumsa, now inside man something, Gabriel, I'll give them the answer. So generally, so you know that it's Chuma said that it's rewarding. You need to know it's rewarding actually. So on average, you should be able to go home with, thousands of pounds, roughly averaging between, as a junior doctor, your medical graduate coming in, you should average between roughly 2,800 to about 4,500 £4,500. So that's an average you'd go home with. So it's a wide average depending on where you're working and what you're doing. So this is an inside information for those that are still logged on. So next question, please. Questions?
Good evening. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, introduce yourself and let us know.
My name is Victory or Dan Altrid. I am an engineering. I finished marine engineering. I just graduated, and I'm trying to apply for my master's degree. So I want to ask. Someone introduced this webinar to me. I want to ask: will I need to get write all these exams if I want to relocate? Like I want to apply for a master's. Will I need all these exams?
Well, do you need this exam if you want to relocate as an engineering student, you mean, yeah?
That's what I'm asking.
Oh, okay. So
outside the lab 1 and 2.
Sorry, outside the lab 1 and 2, yeah?
I don't need the lab 1 and 2 since it's a medical related exams. I don't think I need those exams.
Yeah. So what we need to know is, what you need to know is it's a different ball game, to be honest. I don't know how the engineering migration pathway is, but just so you know, a lot of engineers are also migrating. So I'm going to be able to answer that critically. I don't know if Gabriel has any information about the engineering pathway. Otherwise, I think we're very much knowledgeable about the medical pathway here. Or anybody from...
The thing is, you made it a bit easier by saying that you want to go through you want to do masters here. So it's the masters pathway spreads across every other person. Even if the doctor wants to do masters. So for you to want to do masters is first of all knowing that most times it is capital intensive, and I know the little I know because I have couple of people that have come around to do masters. In that case, you have to have up to sometimes 9 to 15 million in your account, and then you look for a school that can admit you. Looking for a school usually, to be fair, one information that would help you here is to know that if you see an email address in any school at all in the UK. If you search for schools, or I did marine engineering, you search for schools that offer marine engineering, this particular field of marine engineering in the UK, you're going to see a list of schools, and then you can access their websites. Now, something to note is that the email addresses you would see on those websites are usually functional. And so if you send an email to those email addresses, you will get a response. And then you can always start the process of getting the admission. I think after getting the admission, most times the school fees for most of those schools, they vary depending on the school. And I'm quite aware that I think on the average, the school fees should be around 10 million naira, you know. I think that's the main thing to put to mind, that if you have between 8 and 15 million access to that, then of course that should be able to help sort out your school fees. And then most people come into the country, they get some form of care job or something that helps them to pay the rest of their fees or help them maintain their livelihood while they are here. That's one thing to note about the other route, you know, of that. So it's a bit more difficult, but it's doable because we have loads of people doing it. A bit more difficult because the other person that is coming to PLAB is coming on the first day and 30 days later is earning his salary, but you know, you're coming to study, so you're meant to keep paying, studying, but it's at the end of the day, it's rewarding also. I hope that is helpful. Yeah.
That was clear. Thank you very much, Gabriel. Thanks. So
thank you very much, Gabriel.
You're welcome. So Victory, thank you.
Thank you.
Chibike hands is raised up. So Chibike, you can fire. Go on.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. I must say I've learned a lot. I am Chibike from IMSUT. I have two questions. First is, please, do I need to do the GMC or EPIC registration before I apply for IELTS? Then the second question is, I learned that when Lab 1 portal opens, it can get filled up within minutes. So I want to know, are there things we can do? Is there anything we can do to at least get a spot when it is open? Thank you.
Okay. So fine. Let's start with the slots. Let's start with the slots. So I understand that there is a lot of backlogs regarding the slots, a lot of backlogs, and it's difficult to get slots now. So this is the trick. The trick is ensure your IELTS is at hand. Get your IELTS out of the way at the earliest possible opportunity. The reason is because GMC would always announce the next time they're going to be releasing dates. So make sure your IELTS is ready, because without IELTS, you cannot book for PLAB 1. So ensure you have your IELTS handy so that once the PLAB 1 date is out, whenever they announce it, you are aware, you can easily get your PLAB 1 booked and start preparing for your PLAB 1, or start preparing for your PLAB 1 while waiting for it to be booked. But the major thing is get your IELTS out of the way, you know, and that is it. So we're not sure when they release these dates, but it's all on their website. So not necessarily their website, it might not necessarily be on the website, but their Twitter page, they would always inform us about. I think they have a Facebook page as well. So look for them on Twitter, look for them on Facebook. You should be able to follow the recent information and know when to expect the next set of dates to be released. For the
Brian,
yeah.
One more thing to add to it, if you don't mind, just 30 seconds, is that part of being humans is having social interaction with people, and so with the whole difficulty that people have during registering for PLAB 1, I think it's important that you note there are your senior colleagues that have gone abroad already and start contacting them early enough. I think that helps, because I think with the whole restrictions from Nigeria using the Naira card to pay for this exam, sometimes it's a lot difficult to pay from Nigeria. So if you have a friend or if you have a colleague in that is abroad that can help you pay, that would be very, very much more reassuring on the day they open up with all this rush of lack of dates and all that, So getting somebody that can help you, and to get someone these days for a doctor, for a new graduate, I think it shouldn't be too difficult, because with the trend now, you will always find one or two persons that are just your immediate seniors. I mean, I know some people would say it's difficult, but I mean, that's why it's good to have good communication in school. Good to associate with your PUMSA or whatever association you are, because these are the people that would later help you and give you a leeway later on. So I think that's one thing to help you.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to quickly answer one of the questions, which was the one regarding, do you need to do EPIC before you before IELTS? Michael, is Michael still online? Fine, I'll just quickly answer that now. So which is, EPIC can be done, you don't need to do EPIC before you write your IELTS. Go on.
Sorry.
Yeah,
were
Michael.
You
asking? No worries. I was just trying to, I was hoping you could answer the question, but I'll just give them the answer, just a quick one. So right. Yeah. So EPIC doesn't need to be done before your IELTS. You need to pass your IELTS and pass your PLAB 1. EPIC can be done between any time from before PLAB 2 to getting your before passing PLAB 2 and after passing PLAB 2. That's the time frame when you can do an EPIC. EPIC can be done after passing your PLAB 1. You pass your PLAB 1. So before you pass your PLAB 2, so before passing PLAB 2 or before writing your PLAB 2, you can do your EPIC before then. You can also do your EPIC after passing PLAB 2, but it's better to be done before passing PLAB 2, so that once PLAB 2 is out of the way, once you've passed your PLAB 2, your EPIC is already ready. That's your certificate has been verified. All you need to do is to, get other documents like certificate of good standing and apply for your GMC license. So try and get it before you pass PLAB 2. However, still know that after passing PLAB 2, you can still do your EPIC, but try not to do it before PLAB 1. It's usually too early. Hope I answered your question, Chibike. Otto's hand is raised up. Otto, you can go on and ask a question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, our facilitators, for this opportunity. And not a question actually, but like a suggestion kind of. So in line with the certifications and all, I don't know, I just want to suggest if it's possible for PUMSA to like give us certificate for this webinar, like just to add to our portfolio and stuff like that. It's just a suggestion actually. So I don't know if it's possible, just like in line with the certification and stuff you mentioned. So I don't know if it's possible for that to be done. Yeah, thank you very much.
So that will be thank God. Thank God. Is that possible? It should be possible.
Okay. It's okay, sir. We'll come to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork involved, but one beautiful thing about technology now is, most of these things are done online. It's all electronic. All they need to do is to fill up a feedback, probably a feedback form about how they experience or whatever it is. So you can send them a link, and then following filling up their details, it automatically generates an e-certificate that they can download. You don't need to print. It doesn't need to be a paper format. So discuss with the tech guys that we have in PUMSA. They should have an idea about how to go about it. And it's a simple click and type, and that is it. All online. There's no need for paperwork. It's too easy now. So let's see.
The certificates we had already were for the panelists, but we'll consider that.
Fantastic. That is fantastic. Very good. Okay, so Michael's hand is raised, and Prudence as well. So Michael, go on. Would entertain questions for the next 10 minutes up until 9:52, and then we can call it a night. So Michael, please.
Okay, thank you so very much, Chief Dr. Lesban, for this wonderful opportunity. And truly, today we've learned so much from all that the panelists have shared with us. Thank you all very much. We are so grateful. My question is, I just want to ask, when do you think is the best time, based on your experience, the best time to prepare for the IELTS and the PLAB 1? Based on your experience, when will your advice would be the best time to prepare for both of the exams? Thank you.
Okay, fine. IELTS and then PLAB 1, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Anna, I hope Anna is still online. Okay. I don't know if, okay, Anna is not online. Chizukwa, is Chizukwa still online?
Hi.
Yeah, hi, Chizukwa. Hi, when do you think is the best time to prepare for IELTS and PLAB 1, alongside with their medical progression?
Okay, now the thing is, it varies for different persons. I did my IELTS while I was doing youth service, and my PLAB 1 while not youth service, housemanship, and PLAB 1 while doing housemanship as well, just after housemanship, yeah. But before youth service. So if you can do all, while you're doing your housemanship, like the IELTS, the PLAB 1, if you can do IELTS even before housemanship, as soon as you can after graduating, yeah. I don't know if it's advisable to, I don't think it's advisable to do it before graduating, just, focus and be done with med school. And once you're done, just hit the road to the UK, yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. So from my point of view will be IELTS it depends on what your plan is. You need to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're going to be jumping from here to, from left to right. Have a plan and then go with the plan. So IELTS can be written before you in your final year, before graduation, or even after graduation, while you're waiting to get sworn in. That's the period when you should write your IELTS. So final year, probably just before graduation, or like for instance, now the final year medical students who are just about to write their MB and ASO has come in, this is a period to write your IELTS. Write your IELTS before September, because there will be some set of dates that will be released around that period for PLAB 1. If your IELTS is ready, you can book for those PLAB 1 dates. And one thing about PLAB 1 dates now is, if PLAB 1 dates are coming out today, the dates that you'll be seeing is for next year. Next year, probably April, May, June, July, or something like that. So the dates you get are for next year, not that the dates are for the next 2 or 3 months. So that's something you need to put in mind. So IELTS can be done following your graduation or just before graduation. Then PLAB 1 can be booked after you've passed your IELTS. And whenever you booked your PLAB 1, write it and then go on with that. So that's it. I don't know if I'm able to answer your question, Michael.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So Nimi's hand is up. I'm going to get to Nimi, then Prudence. So Nimi, hi.
Hi, thank you very much, President and Alex. Sorry, you just answered my question. I was asking about right now that there is a strike, it is not better to just start prepping since we're not really doing anything.
Yeah,
so
fantastic. Very good. So it's always final year. Final year is better because why final year is better is you cannot write PLAB 2. Why final year is better is because you can't get a GMC license without finishing your house job. That's one thing you need to know. You can't get a GMC license without finishing your house job. Your house job must finish. You must be done with your house job first. So you need to look at that timeline. Best time to write your IELTS is after graduation or just before graduation. When you finish, book for the next PLAB 1. Get PLAB 1 done, get PLAB 2 done. While at it, be gathering your money for other things required. So Prudence, your question, please.
Okay, Chief, there is a slight concern I have. We are supposed to be, some of us are in the final year of the exam year. We are supposed to be graduating and the ASU strike started. So given the whole realities now, is almost certain that even if we finish school this year, our house job is going to be next year. And then if we are planning to write PLAB, it's probably going to be next year. So I read on the news a few months ago that UK is planning to change the PLAB format, that they're planning to change the PLAB to one United Kingdom medical exam, licensing exam, or something like that. I don't know if that's true, and if it is true, do you guys have anything to tell us about it? Because all the information has been centered on PLAB currently, while it's looking like, if that information is true, it's looking like that was not what we'll be doing.
Oh, fine, very good, very good. That's very good. Now, just so you know, we focused on what is on ground, what is known. Now, the UK is trying to, we're not trying to, they're planning to phase out PLAB exams and bring in what they call UK MLE, just like US MLE, but now UK MLE, that's United Kingdom Medical Licensing Exam. Now, just so you know, it's going to be like the dynamics about UK MLE has not been fully, divulged. So we don't have information. Everything will basically be speculation. So why speculate when you can work with what you have? However, UK MLE is something you need to keep an eye out for as regards what the exams would entail. But just remember that no matter how much no matter how much they try to, should I say, even though they're trying to change the format of the exam, it will be the same concept, it will be the same pattern. You will need to write a step 1, which will be medical knowledge, and medical knowledge is like PLAB 1. You need to do OSCE, which will be step 2, and step 2 is like PLAB 2. So no matter what, the knowledge is still the same. They can be they can be translated between the two exams. So this is one we are sure of. This is the one we know, PLAB 1, PLAB 2. That's why we're focused on it now. We don't know if they will move that timeline to 2025 or 2026. It depends on them. But once that timeline comes out, you can now read up about it. But for now, it's the PLAB routes that we're very much conversant with, and that's what we're discussing. I don't know if that answers your question, Prudence.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Judith, please. You have your answer raised.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Alex Bryan, and everyone else who has presented. Okay, so I have 2 questions. For those of us in final year, if we plan on taking the IELTS exam now, won't it expire by the time the ASU strike is called off, and maybe when we are doing the GMC licensing? Because it's one problem I've been having and contemplating, if I should take the IELTS exam now and maybe the 2 years expiration thingy. And also, if the ASU strike extends after the next PLAB booking and our certificate is not available for the GMC registration, how are we going to go about taking the PLAB exam? Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. First on, I'm going to start with the last question, which is taking the you need certificate for taking the PLAB exam. What certificate are you talking about? Is it a primary medical qualification?
Yes, the primary
medical
qualification.
The primary medical qualification, that certificate is only needed for when you are applying for GMC. You don't need your primary medical qualification to write PLAB 1 or PLAB 2. So you don't need your primary qualification to write for PLAB 1 or PLAB 2. Primary medical qualification is when you have, when it gets verified, it's for your GMC licensing.
Brian, sorry, that was when we did our own. So now things have changed a bit because of what they need seriously. So now you need your IELTS and your primary medical qualification before you can even register for PLAB 1.
Before you can even register for PLAB 1. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I see. That's true. That's true.
Things have changed now, basically. So when we did ours before, you could just do that, but that's a bit different now. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, that noted now, noted. Well, we don't know when ASU is going to call off strike. However, that's something we need to consider. That's something we need to consider. So Gabriel, they would need to Club 1 will need to be booked after they've gotten primary medical qualification.
Yes, so yes, Club 1 will need to be booked after you've got the primary medical qualification. I think in as much as you want to get done with this process as quick as possible. I mean, you could still take your time. The main thing is that you want to do this process, So as we said, like me, I didn't get to know about coming to UK until I've done my NYC and everything and all that. Thankfully, I didn't squander the money I had, so that was good. So now you already know that you want to do these exams, you want to start saving from today. Some of us from Uniport are lucky enough to have scholarships. You've saved some part of that money. You just know that I have a goal. Talking about the IELTS is not also the easiest exam. I know someone that wrote the IELTS 11 times. He passed it at the 11th time. Now, fortunately, he was working in the oil rig as a doctor, so somehow he had the money to keep writing until he got it. So it's not to tell you that it's the easiest exam, and it's not to threaten you. I wrote mine once, I passed it. I think Brian also wrote it once and passed it. So, preparing for the exam also, from early on is very important. Then the moment you have your induction, I expect you to start it immediately. I mean, if you still have 1 year to do house job anyway, so within those time and all, you should be able to write the exam. But the moment you do your induction that day at the BTMA Panico, you have your license, or in fact not even license, the day they placed your name on that college board, you're a graduate already, then you can start it already. So you still have time, and at the end, within 1 year, you should finish what you're doing, I guess. So that would be my advice.
Yeah. So from the summary of what Gabriel has said is, know your plan, work towards the plan, start saving, know that you have to write your IELTS and Club 1, and then hopefully ASU calls off strike on time. Once they call off the strike, write your IELTS and your Club 1. Thanks for that, Gabriel. Any other question? I think I saw someone's hand up. Did I? Can't remember. So I think people have been having issues with the IELTS preparation group. The one we talked about, on Telegram. On Telegram, what is written here is IELTS preparation group, just the way I put it on the page. I think with an exclamation mark at the end of group. So let's search for it and see if you find it. Otherwise, you could send me a message on Telegram, Chinedu. Look for Chinedu. If you have my number, I should be able to add you up on the group as well. So, do we have any other question from anybody? Yeah, it's already 9:55. So I would say this is the point where we draw the line. Very big thanks to the panelists. They were amazing. Thank you very much for the detailed information. And thank you for staying with us up until this time. I'm really grateful. Furthermore, the PUMSA executives, you guys have been amazing. It's been brilliant. I understand that there was a pathway like this for the US. The US pathway was done some weeks back, and here's the UK pathway. And then I see you're thinking about Canada as well. I'll buttress what I said earlier, which is, this is not to say everybody should migrate. No, what we're saying is follow your passion, follow your pathway, what suits you right. If to stay back in Nigeria is what you want to do, by all means, stay back and get things done. By all means, stay back and get things done back home. So thanks, Tankori. I would hand over to Gabriel and see if he has any last words to tell us before we call it a day. Then over to you, Gabriel, please.
My last words. Yeah, I didn't get any BGS at all. We're doing politics. That doesn't mean that, thank God, the president will not get BGS, but I'm in training. So for those of you that are backbenchers like myself, you're still going to get into the UK and do very well. And that's one encouraging word for you people. So you must not be a stopped person like Brian or Chuma or any other person. Just know the basic stuff you should know. Be good enough to pass your own MBBS in Uniport, and definitely you can pass all the other exams. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Gabriel. Idibia, if you have any last word for the POM sites before we call it a day.
Yeah, hi. I don't really have much to say. It's just, I think the only thing I can say is just take your time. I know that everybody has this, like everybody wants to get out of the country because obviously things are messed up in Nigeria. ASU is on strike, everything looks crazy. But what I would say is if ASU is on strike, take your time, do other things like Alex Bryan has been talking about, things you can do to enrich your portfolio. So I think this is the perfect time to do other things to just enrich your portfolio. And then when it's time to, when you get your primary medical qualification, then you can start the process and apply for the exam. Because if you rush and do your IELTS now, its validity is 2 years. What if you get an extension? What if Uniport fails to send your, I remember during my time, we had delays in even doing NYSC. So we had to wait an extra 6 months. So you have to factor in all these things. So I would suggest that you do other things during this period that would enrich your portfolio. And then when it's time to apply for, when you get your primary medical qualification, then you can start the process. And then you also have to be smart about things because you have to consider your own financial status as well, because you can't just pay for IELTS and you don't even know how you're going to save up for PLAB 1 and PLAB 2, because these exams are quite expensive. Some people are very lucky to have financial support. I know of a friend who I met while in the UK. He told me that he paid for his PLAB 1 and then he didn't really have any money to pay for PLAB 2. He was doing 2 jobs. One was paying him 80,000, the other was paying him 70,000. That's 150K a month for somebody that was basically working 24/7. And where's that one going to lead you to? So he was basically struggling. And then he got lucky that he saw a patient in a hospital. And then he was really nice to the guy. And then the guy was about leaving on the point of discharge. The guy asked him, Doctor, how can I have your number? What can I do for you? Blah, blah, blah. And then he just told the guy about his challenges. And this is a true life story. You might call it grace, you might call it favor, whatever you want. But the guy, he just told the guy that, man, his only problem now is that he can't even pay for his exams that he wants to write in the UK. And the guy was like, how much is it? And this guy is one allergy, had so much money. And then he just told the guy said, how much is it? And he told the guy the cost. And the guy gave him 1,200,000, 1.2 million starts. I told him, and that's how he paid for his exams that came to the UK. So he found favor in the sight of a Muslim man, basically. But that was it. So people have their own stories. I don't think I had that kind of favor. I struggled. I did 2 jobs, as in I was like, they knew me in Lagos. I was working in a fancy hospital. I was working in one of the biggest hospitals in Lagos then. It was nice. We're wearing scrub suit. We're speaking English to white people and all that stuff. I'll close from that job, and then I'm going to Apapa in the evening with bike and everything, hustling big time in one hospital. It was mad just to gather the funds. So people's journey, people's stories are different. So what I would say is that just pace yourself, take your time. If this is what you want to do, you will eventually do it. No worries, no rush. Just get your primary medical qualifications first and then plan, because you need the finance. 4.something million is not beans. It's not something that anybody can just cough out, except you obviously are from a wealthy home. But for most people, you have to save up. So no rush. Just take your time, save as much as you can. You will eventually leave, and then when you come, I know my chief Peku was trying to be very diplomatic and not tell you how much you would earn. It's not so big. Brian has given you the rough estimate, but to be honest, you will be fairly comfortable. I can tell you that, yes, I was doing 2 jobs. In a Nigerian standard for a doctor, I was very comfortable because I was getting like 200K in one of the jobs. I was getting like 160 in the other one. So that was like technically 360K. I think that's the math now. So if you look at the Nigerian standard, I was fairly comfortable, but I was miserable because I I had no life. But I can tell you that if you come over, that is literally that money I was making in a month, working basically 24/7, you can actually send that home to your friends to just literally send them every month, and you will not really feel it. So that's that. You feel it sharp, but it's something that you can do consistently. So in a nutshell, just pace yourself, take your time, and plan. I think that's the most important thing that you need for this journey. So that's basically my last words. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Idibia. Very grateful. I'll hand over to Chizukwa. Chizukwa, give us final words. Something for the poem side. Thank you.
All right. It's been a long talk, but what I can say is you don't have to fret, especially when you've haven't heard all the financial requirements. It seems like a complicated journey, but you shouldn't fret. Just have faith and go for it. Financially, like Idibia said, you save. If you have scholarship now, save. During house job, I was able to save up a lot. Many of us here were able to save up during house job, those of us aside from while working as house officers. So when you start earning a lot of money as a house officer, don't just squander what you have. Save, and trust God to see you through. And then also know that it's worth it. When you eventually come here, it's absolutely worth it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chizu. Thank you very much, Chizu. If there's one thing you need to know, it is worth it. Honestly, it is, to be frank, it is. I'll hand over to Michael. Michael, can you give us some last word before we leave? Thank you, Michael.
Hello, guys. So I wouldn't say I've got anything new to add to what others have said, really. But I'll just say that just take note that it's a journey. That's what some of us did not realize initially. It is a journey. It is not a quick fix. It's not something you need to do overnight. I'm sure by now you've got a lot of information. Do with whatever you want to do with the information. The information will help and guide you. And give yourself time. Don't stress. If I don't think I'm going to really bother about this whole process until after I'm actually got my MBBS certificate. Because that's the rate limiting step. If you're not a doctor, you can't even proceed, to be fair. So finish your school, finish up first. Concentrate your school. Being a doctor is the most important thing. You have to practice as a doctor here. So be a doctor first. Then every other thing will align. The money is just leave money first. Money will come. Somehow you will get money. But then again, I would say it is worth the effort, is worth the sacrifice, is worth every bit of stress you will ever pass through. Yeah, we're telling you from experience. So we'll just encourage you to just do the best you can do, basically. And I wish you guys all the very best.
Thank you very much, Michael. So basically, what you've said so far is, don't fret, take a deep breath, take it easy, save as much as you can save, you will be fine. And these guys are telling you from experience, because we were once here when there was no money, we didn't know what to do. So it's very possible. Chizukwa has told you, save your scholarships, Agbamia and Chevron and other scholarships, save them. Save your house job money as well. You will do great. And like I said, it's in steps. IELTS, PLAB 1, PLAB 2. So don't go and think of everything at once. Take them bit by bit, block by block, and plan around them. Thank you very much, Tangod. I'll hand over to you now to give us a vote of thanks, and then we'll call it a day.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Dr. Alex Bryan. I think I don't know where to start from. It's just to call the names one by one. I really appreciate you. First, Dr. Alex Bryan, Dr. Chuma, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think I really, I was so impressed the way you took us. Dr. Opara Michael, Dr. Chizu, well, I think this is the first time. This is the first time I'm meeting you. It's my pleasure. Dr. Gabriel, our former Senate president, I think he was one of the most renowned men before the section started that I had to even have to check up on your antecedents in PUMS, and they were quite amazing. It's my pleasure meeting you again, Dr. Idibia, and our former Miss PUMS, Dr. Anna. I really appreciate them. Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure. It was targeted at discussing the pathway to UK, and you guys went as far as preaching PUMS also. I think as you were saying, I was busy, I was laughing, I was enjoying myself. One thing I noticed that after this section, more persons will be encouraged to participate well in the things that have to do with PUMS, because that's is one of the things I was emphasized that the messages I have on my phone are plenty. So I really want to thank you. I would not have even advertised it that much, but it was really advertised by you. We're making plans for further mentorship, whichever way. I'll put up a proposal also and see how we can keep learning and drawing from you. I would say that people are really an inspiration to us. I think other schools seeing us meet with our own alumni in this form and the mentorship, they are jealous. Let me not say they are not jealous, they are impressed. And it's one thing that we have, one legacy we have laid. Certification, like you emphasized, is one thing I think we'll work on. If we had all the time, I would have shared my story. Almost everybody that was awarded in PUMSA, we did it such a way that there was an e-copy that was made to them personally, both doctors and students. I think this happened after somebody contacted me, like you contacted Femi then, and I saw the need immediately. So we have to make e-copies. And also for the panelists too, we have to work on e-copies, and it will be forwarded to your various emails. At least so at one point or the other, you will remember there was a section like this we had with PUMSA, for which I know it will come over and over and over again. Some of our alumni who are also there in the UK are aware of this section, some who graduated long ago in 1990s are also aware of this section, and they are happy that you are able to mentor us in this form. We will look for further mentorship. I think I'll use this period to really announce. This was supposed to be very special and personal, but I'll use it to announce, particularly for Dr. Alex Bryan. They were nominated. I think I refused to communicate it to you earlier. I was waiting for this section for a legacy award, which is coming from PUMSA, and it will be forwarded to you in your email, recognition of your accomplishment, contribution towards academic excellence amongst medical students in the University of Port Harcourt. It did not start today. We are really, really very grateful for others. I think I'm working on one or two other things. Please, you do me a favor, I'll get your emails. I would also like to have your personal contacts. So thank you so much. Congratulations, Dr. Alex Bryan. Thank you, our panelists. Thank you, PUMSA. I think the session would not have been possible without you. Having over, I think at the point we were having up to 160, 170 persons. I've hardly attended meetings with that number. I think I noticed Dr. Profe was also with us. Thank you very much, Chief, and also for the doctors who are here with us. Thank you for your encouragement. We look forward for more mentorship from all of you. I think PUMSA will be better. I wish and I pray maybe the succeeding president was here to witness this section. I don't know who, but whoever the person is, if he's here, please take notes. Majority of the things that have been said today is for you. So I think with this, we'll continue to work stronger. We'll come up to you. I am usually like Oliver Twist. So I have so many things to put forward, and I will do so through Dr. Alex Bryan. Please accept it from us. Thank you, and God bless you. And I'll say good night. God bless all of you. God bless PUMSA. And God bless our alumni. You work stronger and attain the zenith of the medical career. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, thank God for the recognition. I'm very grateful. And thank you very much for the panelists. It was really a pleasure to work with you on this project. Thank you very much, Pumsa, for joining us up until this late. You guys' determination and resilience would definitely pay off. I love you all, and have a good night. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so much, Chief. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.